You are watching the SEC on ESPN. Well, down the stretch they come. Just 2 weekends remain in the SEC baseball regular season. We're going to kick off this weekend a bit early with the top 15 showdown here in Columbia, South Carolina. The Georgia Bulldogs make the 3-hour trek east to take on the 13th-ranked Gamecocks for a series that could determine who hosts a regional and who does not. And with that, we say hello once again alongside the former Alabama great Lance Cormier. I'm Sam Ravitch. Great to have you along with us for game 1 of 3 here at Founders Park. And Lance, I just said it, this could go a long way in determining how easy or how hard your road is to get to the College World Series. Just how critical is this weekend for both sides?
Well, everybody wants to play at home, and usually that's where you're going to have more success. And you see Georgia right now with an RPI of 5. They play so much better at home. If they win the series, win out, they might be able to move up. Both teams are in the top 16, so they're hosting right now. But can you get to top 8 where you know you get to play at home both weekends in the regional super? That's the goal.
That's the biggest question. Every once in a while, Lance, a transcendent figure comes along in the world of sports. Charlie Condon has been that transcendent figure in college baseball all season long, and he very well might be the #1 overall pick this summer.
Yeah, I've heard every single, basically, phrase that describe Charlie Condon, and they're all true. Everything that he does is very good. He can play 5 positions. He started in the outfield, the infield. He swings for average, for power, everything about it. I mean, he's just flat out good, and right now he's got the Bulldogs offense rolling as well.
He's been the SEC Player of the Week 3 times. Cole Messina was the SEC Player of the Week last week, though, LC.
Yeah, he deserves that. And this is a guy coming into the season, All-American last year, preseason All-American this year. I thought he was my most important player just because he plays the premium position of catcher. Started off a little slow, but, man, he has come on as of late. 15 home runs so far this year.
Does a great job behind the plate as well. And he'll be behind the plate for this guy, Roman Kimball, the sophomore, on a short week, too. You got to remember, we're starting Thursday. Both these teams played Friday, Saturday, Sunday last weekend. So a short week on both sides. Kimball will make his 7th start of the season tonight, Lance.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's got relief appearances. Both of these guys are kind of swing where they can go start, relief, doesn't matter. Fastball is going to be really good. He's not a big guy, 5'11", but, man, throws some smoke up to 95 miles an hour. The biggest thing for him, though, he's got elite stuff. It's going to be commanding the strike zone. If you can do that, especially against a team that has a lot of walks in Georgia, you got to keep the guys off base.
Kimball coming off a season where he did not pitch. Underwent Tommy John surgery, but back healthy this year, and he will face Corey Collins to start it off, and 92 miles an hour, misses outside for ball 1. Here's a look at the Georgia Bulldogs batting order, and you're going to be hard-pressed to find a more dangerous lineup in the entire country. 122 home runs for the Georgia Bulldogs this year. That is a program record. Called strike into Corey Collins, the designated hitter. Playing first base, though, today. Batting .352 on the year with 14 of those 122 long balls. And the 1-1 high and away.
I mean, how about that? You saw the on-base percentage. Corey Collins leading Division I baseball, .591. You have the best player in the country hitting right behind you. That's a fun spot to be in, knowing that they don't want to pitch to him with the guy on base, but they keep doing it.
So Kimball missing high here to Corey Collins. This is what he's done the last 5 games. Nobody gets on base better than Collins. 7 hit-by pitches, 8 walks, 1 hit that left the yard over his last 5 games. I mean, he would have been beloved by Billy Beane in the 2002 Oakland A's because he gets on base. And there it is. Another walk for Corey Collins, the nation's leader in on-base percentage, nearing 600. That's going to make way for Charlie Condon, the 20-year-old supernova that has taken the college baseball world by storm. Earned consensus freshman All-America honors last year. He was named D1Baseball.com's midseason player of the year and will most likely cruise his way into unanimous and consensus national player of the year because, frankly, what we have seen from Charlie this year just has not been done. And a fastball in for a called strike. Leads the nation with a .459 batting average, 16 doubles, and again, a nation-leading 33 home runs. He is 1 home run shy of breaking the NCAA record in the BB Core era, set by Jack Caglione last year at Florida. But you're right, LC. I mean, it's hard to put into context just what he has done this year. You look at some of the numbers here. I mean, he's hitting almost 500. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah, the part where you can say, hey, he is a power hitter, and he's also an average hitter.
And he lifts one out to left center field. That's going to get into the gap. Collins coming around. He will score. And Condon coasts into second with a double. And just like that, Georgia gets on the board. That is Condon's 17th double of the year.
That's just as impressive too, Sam. 33 home runs, but he's also got 17 doubles. Just shows you the kind of power he has. And you cannot hang a breaking ball in the middle of the zone. He just keeps his hands back so well, lets the ball travel, and makes you pay every single time you do that.
Well, now he is standing on second. He went 5 for 10 last weekend against Vandy with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs, and he continues to mash the ball. Dylan Goldstein steps in from the left-hand side, and it's just no easy out in this Georgia lineup as Kimball misses outside, has to jump for the throw. Goldstein himself hitting .313, transfer from Florida Atlantic. Hit 300 with 14 doubles and 13 homers last year, was second team All-Conference USA. Coach Wes Johnson made it a point, LC, to bring up Dylan Goldstein in our call. He told us, you know, he's going to give you a professional at bat. Another on-base guy, .461 on-base percentage. And he cuts it a fastball high for strike one there. He has struggled a little bit, 11 for his last 44 at the plate over the last 4 weeks. That's a .250 average, but nevertheless, he can leave the park in a hurry too. 12 long balls on the year for him. Good eye there.
Well, Sam, I think that's why you see guys, you know, pitching to Condon, because they know behind him they have guys that are going to make you pay as well. And so, because the smart thing would go, hey, let's pitch around Charlie Condon, but with Corey Collins getting on base at 60% of the time, then all of a sudden you have multiple guys on base, sets up big innings.
Roman Kimball, LC, is missing high on a lot of his fastballs. Anything that you're picking up on his start so far?
Well, a lot of times you just get so amped up in the beginning part of the game, knowing that, and just the mechanics fall a little bit. You're rushing to the plate, leaving the arm behind. And again, you said you mentioned he missed last year to Tommy John surgery. The command has been the issue all year. That's usually the last thing that comes back. Guys come back, the arm starts to feel really good, but they just have a hard time feeling the pitches and really commanding the baseball.
Only lasted an inning in his last start against Missouri on Friday. Gave up 2 hits, 2 earned, a pair of walks, and 3 strikeouts. He has not gone longer than 4 innings in any of his previous 6 outings, and he's still searching for out number 1 here in the top of the first. As Slate Alford, the cleanup batter, will step in. Second baseman, junior transfer from Mississippi State. He's got him on first and second, and a breaker misses outside, and Kimball just trying to find the zone here.
Yeah, biggest thing, I love how the team basically came out there. No coach came out there, the team came. Just try to settle them down a little bit, because you got to know, like, hey, it's only 1-0. We have a really good offense. This is a hitter's park. We score some runs. Keep it at 1-0. You know, go ahead, just attack the zone, get you a ground ball, let the defense turn a little double play, get you out of an inning.
Charlie Condon drove in the first run of the game on an RBI double. Brought in Corey Collins, and the 1-1 late on a fastball is Alford. Alford having a renaissance season in Athens this year. Hit .248 at Mississippi State last season. And he's up to a .303 batting average this year with 13 homers and 54 runs batted in. Can add to that total here in the 1-2, high and away. Count evens 2-2 to the junior out of Madison, Alabama. Already some action up in the bullpen for South Carolina. It looks like Ty Good is starting to warm. And he's been more of a long relief guy for the Gamecocks, and he has been very good out of the bullpen for them.
Yeah, I've had him a couple times this year, and the stuff is really good, and he just knows how to pitch. So any sign of trouble, he will be the guy coming in.
Trying to work out of trouble here. Kimball tugs a fastball outside to work it full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 2 Georgia Bulldogs have already worked walks in this frame. Swing and a miss, and a huge out number 1 for Roman Kimball. See if that settles him down a little bit, LC.
Yeah, it should. That's a great job right there. It's a good at-bat. Alford battles to 3-2, but then you just trust it. The old down and away, glove side fastball, trusted that you got a better shot. I mean, that's why guys aren't hitting, when they're hitting 250, 306, whatever, they're getting out a higher percentage of time and just trust the fastball. Nice pitch right there by Kimball.
Makes way for the freshman phenom, Trey Phelps. Kennesaw, Georgia. He chases a fastball high. Trey Phelps, I mean, it's just been a great campaign so far. Sustained a knee injury in the second game of the Missouri series back on April 12th. He missed 6 games, but since his return, he's been impossible to get out. I mean, he came back in the doubleheader against Texas A&M 2 weeks ago. And since then, he is 8 for 17, 9 RBIs, 2 home runs, and a .470 batting average. And that's a tough spot for a freshman to be in and have that role as the designated hitter. But, I mean, he has made the most of it.
Yeah, I like the position that he's in just because you have other guys, older guys, and especially at the top of the lineup, they take a lot of the pressure off the young guy. I mean, that's when freshmen are expected to be the man, it's a lot harder. But when you know there's a lot of other studs on the team that you can just kind of settle in your role and just do what you do, it's a lot easier.
Next pitch will be number 25 for Roman Kimball here in the top of the first, just 1 out. Phelps went 2 for 4 on Sunday with 3 RBIs. And what was just a thumping of Vanderbilt by Georgia last weekend at home. Georgia's RPI has shot up to number 5 coming into this weekend. And this team is in position to host a regional for the first time since 2019 at Foley Field. They can continue on this track. And the 3-2. Late on the fastball. Phelps able to get a piece of it, though. Head coach Wes Johnson in his first season to College World Series as a pitching coach at Arkansas. Of course, won it all with LSU last year. Helped work with Paul Skeens, who just got called up by the Pirates yesterday. Of course, Dylan Cruz went 1-2 in the draft. First and second, 1 out. And the 3-2 from Kimball is lifted high and deep out to left field. Going back is Kennedy Jones at the wall, and it's out of here. A 3-run blast from Trey Phelps, his 6th homer of the year. And the 123rd homer by Georgia this season. They just continue to mash, LC, and it is 4-0.
Well, you said it earlier, Ravi. I mean, since he's come back, they can't get him out, and continues to trend. Love the approach. He's out there hacking at the fastball. 3-1, he got his pitch, just missed it, and right there he said, I'm not missing this one again. Kennedy Jones thought he had a play, but it just kept carrying. He finds that wall, and just enough out of the park.
Well, that'll be the end of the day for Roman Kimball. He's only able to get South Carolina 1 out in this game. And he gives up the 3-run blast to Trey Phelps. Ty Good makes his way into the game. They're going to need him to go quite a while in this one. It is already 4-0 Georgia, with just 1 out in the top of the first. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Founders Park here in Columbia, South Carolina. Not the start that the Gamecocks would have liked from Roman Kimball. He's only able to give him one out. Gave up a 3-run homer to Trey Phelps to clear the base paths and now make way for Ty Good, senior right-hander out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Transferred in from College of Charleston, and since he has arrived, Lance, he has been excellent for this team, making his 18th appearance.
Yeah, he's the CAA Pitcher of the Year last year, so he's a guy that can be a starter but also be a reliever, and you see the 18th appearance, a lot of innings in those appearances. So he's a guy that will go long, like you mentioned, long reliever, but this stuff is really good. Up to 92, 93 miles out the fastball, and it's straight over the top. And to me, that's what makes the curveball, the slider, and then his best all-speed pitch, the changeup, really good because it all comes out of the same slot.
They pitched in the 10-2 win over Missouri last Friday, went 4 innings. He only allowed 1 hit and struck out 7. First pitch is down to Paul Tates. Got to be frustrating for Roman Kimball. And, that's going to happen sometimes, Lance. But, when it happens time and time again, unfortunately, it's something that Roman's going to have to work with. But we mentioned it. He's coming off a Tommy John surgery, and he hasn't pitched more than 4 innings this year. So still working his way back.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is just continue to get experience, get outings under your belt because the command will come back. As long as the arm feels good, which obviously it looked like it did. The fastball was right about where we thought it would be at. It's just now finding that command.
Paul Tates, grad transfer from Purdue. 1 for 4 day against Vandy on Sunday, and he grounds one through the hole into left field. 1 out single, third hit of the inning for Georgia. And their hot bats have carried over from that Vandy series into this week. Bulldogs have won 5 in a row now. It's the longest active winning streak in the SEC. And Chadwick squares around, pulls back for ball 1. But they won 2 of their 3 games last weekend via run rule. Georgia scored 35 runs over the 3 games. It was a non-competitive series, which is rare to say for a Vandy team that is always a perennial powerhouse in the SEC. It just has been a down year for them so far this year.
Yeah, it really has. But sometimes you have teams that just have your number and they just don't match up really well with them. And, boy, you could tell Georgia Bulldogs matched up really nicely against Vanderbilt last weekend because that was a great weekend for them. And, again, shot that RPI, like you already said, up to number 5 in the country.
Good misses high to Chadwick, and it's 3-0 to the Georgia center fielder. And a called strike. Chadwick, another transfer. Came over from Sam Houston State. And the 3-1 pitch is ripped down the foul line. Way out in front of that one. Chadwick played a huge role in helping head coach Jay Sirianni and the Bearcats get to that Baton Rouge regional last year. Didn't go too well for them because they had to go up against a team that would eventually win it all in Omaha, but good off-speed pitch. Long run for Brindling, and the center fielder snags it for out number 2. Well, we talked about their series win last weekend over Vanderbilt. This has been a really good year for Wes Johnson in his first year. 123 homers now. That's a program record. 10 grand slams. The only bugaboo, or I guess there's been a couple, but playing on the road in the SEC, they're 3-9, and their pitching hasn't been great, although it has been a lot better as of late, which is going to be a huge point of emphasis for this team if they're going to want to make a run in the postseason. That is a filthy breaking pitch by Good, because he got Colby Branch to duck.
Yeah, a little buckle up right there, the overhand curveball.
Went right back to it, and Branch stayed in the box this time and fouled it off. It's 0-2.
Well, like you mentioned, Georgia's going to hit. We know that. We've seen it. The road record, but that's everybody in the SEC. It's tough to play on the road. The stadium, the crowds, it's just unbelievable atmosphere. But the one thing that's going to happen, you mentioned it's getting better. If the pitching is there, they have as good a chance to go to Omaha.
All right, so Ty Good comes in and picks up a couple of outs, but not before Trey Phelps smashes his 6th homer of the year. This ball was up there forever. And it finally came down, resulted in a 3-run blast. And Georgia on top 4-0 as we go to the bottom of the first here in game 1 of 3. Welcome back. Lights on overhead for this top 15 showdown between SEC East foes. Georgia put up 4 runs in the top of the first inning, and Jarvis Evans, the left-hander, will be pitching with a lead to start his outing. LC, what can we expect to see from him?
Well, the fastball 86 to 89. He's got the slider changeup. I mentioned already, just like Kimball was a swing guy, can start, can relieve, can do a little bit of everything, but athletic, was a high school quarterback, so he feels his position well, holds runners really well. But it's one of those things where you say thank you very much for that 4-run lead, but he also hasn't been on the mound in a very long time. That's a long first inning to have to sit down and wait.
Yeah, just his 7th start of the year, and he will face this South Carolina Gamecocks batting order, which is just now finding their power stride. Ethan Petrie, top 10 in the SEC in homers, on-base percentage, and walks. This is a South Carolina team that is built on power and patience. One of the best teams in the entire country at getting on base, and they can also mash with the best of them as well. 78 homers on the year now. It was a slow start, but now starting to pick it up offensively. Have to come from behind in this one, though. So Austin Brindling will lead it off, and what an amazing story Austin Brindling is. For a lot of the season, Lance, Austin was sitting in the dugout as an observer, and then with Coach Kingston looking for a spark at the top of the order, he turned to Austin and just kind of threw him in the starting lineup against Arkansas 3 weeks ago. He only had 1 official at bat all season long prior to that series, but he has made the most of his opportunity, and he's coming off his best game that he's ever played in a South Carolina jersey. Went 4 for 5 in the midweek against Winthrop, 2 doubles, and a home run, his first of the season, 4 RBIs as well. He's batting .356. I think it's safe to say South Carolina has found their leadoff man.
Yeah, Coach Kingston, he's thrown out a bunch of different lineups, and it's been moving Petrie, moving Messina, moving Jackson, trying to find everybody, and you're just trying to find that sweet spot, and you get, like you said, almost a prototypical leadoff guy in Brindling, and got some speed, being able to run in front of the big bats, and might have found something. And when you do that, then that's when the offense starts to realize, like, hey, I can settle in my role. I don't have to be something I'm not, and that's usually when the lineups take off.
Did struggle a little bit last week against Missouri, 1 for 12, and he chops that one foul, but a very experienced player. It's been a long, winding road for Brindling, who actually started his college career at Florida in the shortened COVID season. He didn't end up appearing in a game there. And he transferred to Daytona State College, where he played for 2 seasons, and then went to North Florida last year, where he was named first-team All-ASUN. And the 2-2 curveball misses inside from Jarvis Evans to work it full 3-2. Takes a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the first. That's what you want to see if you're a South Carolina fan. 323rd walk this season. That's good for 3rd in all the land. makes way for the Ethan Petrie. .301 batting average. Leads this team with 19 homers. You know, were it not for somebody named Charlie Condon, Ethan Petrie would have been the SEC Freshman of the Year last year, and might have had a case for National Player of the Year with the year he put together. He broke numerous freshman records at South Carolina. And he lifts this one out to left field. Tates was frozen, and he drops it. Scooting up to second base and slipping momentarily is Brindling, but he keeps a hand on the bag. And South Carolina has it cooking with first and second, nobody out.
Yeah, got a little top spin right there, and Tate's, I thought he had a good break on it. The ball just, you could see it just dive in right before him. And a nice job getting in quickly to try to get Brindling, who almost slid past the bag.
Both these teams locked and a tie for third in the SEC East. 13-11 in conference play. Now, this series means a ton. Not only in terms of positioning for the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, but also momentum going into the final week of the regular season next weekend as Blake Jackson steps in with nobody out. Takes ball two.
Well, Ravi, I know if you ask most coaches, I know what they would say about playing in the SEC tournament and, wanting to win the tournament, but, they want to have their seeds kind of wrapped up in the regular season where they can go.
Here's a bunt and a good one. It gets past the first baseman, and it rolls into almost right field. One run will come in to score. The throw goes to third. Petrie is safe. And up to second base goes Blake Jackson. I mean, it was like a drag bunt there that was just placed perfectly by Blake Jackson.
That's exactly what it is. I want to know if this is going to be a drag bunt double because it gets by the first baseman. Second baseman's having to cover first, and they just keep going. And then once second base is occupied, just smart base running by the Gamecocks all around. That's a heck of a baseball play.
And LC, it will be ruled a Jackson double to second base. How about that? A bunt RBI. Petrie up to third as Brindling comes in to score the first run of the game for the Gamecocks.
I hope the folks like the offense because it seems like that's what we're going to see tonight.
Cole Messina, the reigning SEC Player of the Week, steps in the batter's box and takes ball one low. Cole Messina, the catcher out of Summerville, South Carolina, leading the team with a .314 batting average. He has gotten hot at just the right time for the Gamecocks. 13 for 25 over his last 7, and a hanger is cranked foul. Got Petrie on third, Jackson on second. So just like that, after going down 4-0, South Carolina's got the tying run at the plate here in the bottom of the first inning. And Jarvis Evans is trying to work through some traffic and find the first out.
But you never want to give up a 4 spot as a pitcher or a team. But if you do, the earlier in the game, the better, because it just gives the team that many more opportunities. And so giving up 4 in the first, not how you want to start the game, but being at home, you still have your crowd behind you, and then also getting some kind of momentum going in the first inning has been huge for the Gamecocks.
So while South Carolina did beat Missouri last weekend, it was a little bit closer than I think Coach Kingston would have liked. And I don't know, without Messina's offensive heroics, that thing might have changed pretty quickly. And a called strike 3 at the knees. Messina doesn't like it, and he's having some words with home plate umpire Javero January. But it will be out number 1 here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, beautiful fastball right here by Evans, just inside part of the plate. That's where you got to pitch guys with that kind of power, right at the knees. I think Messina thinks it's a little down, maybe even a little in. And as a catcher, he knows his zone, but doesn't get the call. Big first out.
Left on left here with Parker Nolan coming to the plate. Transfer from Vanderbilt, takes a looping curveball in for a strike. There's head coach Mark Kingston. Fresh off a super regional appearance last season. They're second under him, and their first since his first year at 2018. Last year's South Carolina team was very interesting to watch as Nolan able to hold up there on his swing. They were just kind of ravaged with injuries in the middle of SEC play last year, and then kind of got healthy, and they found some key players that were on the bench to contribute later on in the season and end up making it all the way to the Gainesville Regional where they lost. That one nearly gets past the catcher, Gonzalez, but he was able to get a glove on it. Veteran backstop for Georgia. Got 2 really good catchers in this one too,
yeah.
Lance. 2 veteran catchers.
Just thinking the same thing, and not just offensively, but 2 really good catchers controlling the pitching staff and also the running game.
Fernando Gonzalez playing in his 170th game, and a called strike 2 to Nolan.
I love watching just their mannerisms behind the plate. They're very active in talking to the pitcher. You just saw Gonzalez fist pumping Evans like, hey, I like that pitch. And anytime you can instill confidence, when you're on the mound and the catcher's talking to you like that, you're like, man, he believes in me. I might as well believe in myself too.
Blocks it there, and that'll keep Petrie on third.
Catchers almost need another
pitchers.
Stat column. Yeah, almost need where that right there goes down as runs saved.
Both starting pitchers have struggled with their command here early on in the game. Roman Kimball only lasted a third of an inning for South Carolina. And the payoff from Evans is high for ball 4, and the bases are going to be loaded for the Gamecocks here. Still just 1 out. And a meeting on the mound as Gonzalez goes out to have a conversation with Evans. You know, I don't want to say that you could predict this, Lance, but when you have a team like Georgia that does issue quite a few walks this year, and you have a team like South Carolina who is super patient at the plate, I think you're bound to have a lot of full counts and quite a few walks in a game as well. And South Carolina's already got 2 here in this inning.
I agree, and I think you have to a little bit of that long inning because you got to think. I mean, it was almost 20 plus minutes where he was sitting on the bench, not being able to throw. Especially, he might have stepped up and thrown, but being able to throw off the mound down to a target is totally different.
Now you got to face Kennedy Jones, who's been red hot for the Gamecocks ever since he transferred in from UNC Greensboro. He's made the transition look seamless at times. A .300 batting average. 8 homers. Came back down to earth a little bit last week against Missouri. Went 1 for 13 at the plate with 4 strikeouts. 2-0.
I can tell you right now what he's thinking. He's sitting dead red, 2-0. It's bases loaded. He's hitting .375 with the bag full of Gamecocks. And right now you're thinking fastball, you throw it, and he's coming out of his shoes.
Evans delivers. High ball 3. This is trouble right now for Georgia. And the 3-0. That's in there for a called strike one. Hitter-friendly count to the dangerous Kennedy Jones. And he flips one back out of play to run it full 3-2. Jones was great in that series win over Kentucky 2 weeks ago. He drove in 7 runs over the 3 games 2 weekends ago. Got a chance to drive in more here as the payoff on the way, and he grounds it towards third, and it gets through to left field. Petrie comes in to score. Jackson being waved around. It's bobbled out and left by Tates. And a 2-run RBI base hit for Kennedy Jones makes it 4-3.
Tates misplays this ball, trying to think he's got to come quickly, but a lot of credit for Kennedy Jones. Just a great at-bat. Got himself in an advantage count. Picks up the 2 RBI on a single. But again, when you start to see fastballs over and over again, when you're in that advantage count and then got a little celebration going, going to come up big for the Cocks.
Parker Nolan goes up to third. It's like you're watching the same movie again here, Lance, because South Carolina and Roman Kimball was only able to go a third of an inning in the top of the first, and here we go. Georgia will make a change with Jarvis Evans only able to get 1 out in the bottom of the first. 7 runs have already scored here in this one, and we are just in the first inning. We'll be right back. Just 1 out here in the bottom of the first. South Carolina has already scored 3 after trailing 4-0 in the top of the first. And Georgia has had to dip into their bullpen already. Colton Smith will come in to relieve the starter Jarvis Evans. And Smith, making his 16th appearance, has been another kind of long relief guy out of the pen for the Bulldogs this year, but elevated ERA north of 5, Lance.
Yeah, you see, though, 9 decisions in his 15 appearances already, so he's in high leverage situations, and I love the strikeout to walk ratio and 75 punch outs in 48 innings. Woo. It's power stuff. It's a 4-pitch mix, but again, it's not that overpowering. It's not like he's at throwing 100 miles an hour. It's just 89 to 92, but throws the ball where he wants to.
Gamecocks showing some fight early on here. The infield is in for Georgia. A 2-run RBI single by Kennedy Jones knocked out the starter Evans from the game, and Jones standing on second now. Parker Nolan is on third, and the batter will be Dalton Reeves. Another transfer. He came over from Presbyterian. Well, the Gamecocks have had their ups and downs in SEC play this year, but like Georgia, they're starting to put it together these last couple of weekends. We said coming off the series win against Missouri last weekend, but South Carolina won just 2 of their first 6 SEC series, and now they've won back-to-back series over a top 5 Kentucky team and then on the road last weekend against Missouri. So both these teams are starting to play better baseball. It's the 0-2, make it 76 strikeouts on the year for Colton Smith.
Well, I love how he came into the game with the all-speed stuff ready. Goes first pitch changeup, goes little cutter at the 86 to get the second strike, and right there another changeup. You see how far out front. When guys on base and a new guy coming in, you're going to expect an aggressive hitter. So nice job right there by Smith.
Georgia sent 8 to the plate in the top of the first. South Carolina will send 8 to the plate at least here in the bottom of the first. Leekroy, a slow roller up the third base line. Tough play for Condon on the run. And he's able to make the throw. one of the many reasons why Major League scouts are so high on Charlie Condon, as he can do that in the field as well as hit 33 homers on the year. It's 7 runs already in the first inning. All right, here's 3 teams to keep an eye on in the SEC in terms of regional hosts. Very similar records, similar RPI, similar strength of schedule. You know, the one thing that Georgia fans at least have to keep an eye out for is what Mississippi State is doing, because Mississippi State has the head-to-head win over Georgia. They took 2 out of 3 from them in April. But Georgia with the number 5 RPI, it's tough to see them being left out of a potential host spot. Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Georgia all playing really good baseball right now too. So it's hard to discern between the 3 who will host, but I don't know, you kind of figure maybe one gets left out of the 3.
I truly think, though, you could have all 3, because let's just say this goes as a, let's say Georgia wins the series 2-1, right? South Carolina doesn't fall back. Well, they go to Tennessee next weekend. They have a great weekend. They win that series. They're right back into it. Mississippi State is on the road at Arkansas this weekend, so depending on how they play that weekend, against them. So I do think most likely it probably is 2 or 3, but I think there is a path for all 3 of those teams to get to host.
So we go to the top of the second. Georgia scored first, 4 runs, and then South Carolina answered with 3 of their own. And a leadoff walk to the number 9 batter and the catcher, Fernando Gonzalez. That's the 3rd walk issued to Georgia so far in this one, as Ty Good did not start this game. Came in with 1 out in the top of the first inning. They'll be tasked with going deep in this one. Back to the top of the order, and Corey Collins, who worked 1 of the 3 walks, leads the nation in on-base percentage. And a called strike to the veteran. You see it there, 591 OBP. He's been hit 23 times, Lance. 23 times HBP. That's a lot of ice bags, ice baths, whatever you got with ice in it. I'm sure Corey Collins has needed all of it this year.
I think that just comes down to a lot of the pitchers. When it comes to command, you have to throw inside, but I think guys are just a little tentative and maybe nervous, scared. I don't know what it is, but the command is just not there, and so pitching inside.
Goodbye baseball. Corey Collins, we have a liftoff. 2nd homer of the night. That'll be Corey Collins' 15th of the year, and a 2-run blast. Make it 124 homers on the year for the Georgia Bulldogs already this season.
As I was saying, pitching inside is important, Rafi, but right there, that pitch did not get inside. It stays right down the middle, and Collins does what he does best. Look at that. Beautiful left-handed swing. Extends the lead for the Georgia Bulldogs.
And here goes Charlie Condon, back to back, and Condon has broken the record. The home run king is here, 34. That is the 8th straight game with a home run, and Charlie Condon is now the new single-season home run king in the BV Corps era. Breaks the record previously set by Jack Caglione of Florida last year. And that'll get the South Carolina bullpen going again. Wow.
Well, Sam, I love the approach that Condon took right there. You just gave up the home run, so he has a leadoff walk, falls behind Collins a little bit, gives up the home run, thinking, I got to get ahead of Condon. Goes first pitch swinging, and it makes him pay. So I love the aggressiveness. He showed at the first plate appearance that he would take a couple pitches, let the pitcher work, but then right there he said, you throw the fastball over the plate, I'm going to make you pay.
So Georgia goes back-to-back homers to make it 7-3. Dylan Goldstein gives one a ride out to left center. That'll stay in the ballpark, though, as Kennedy Jones ranges over to record out number 1 here in the second inning. I don't know, Lance. We might see some offense here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to keep going. I mean, until you got guys that are just on the mound, you got to be throwing strikes. We've seen 5 walks already, to patient teams that want to walk, but also teams that have that kind of power, because then you start to nibble, and you fall behind, and then you're going to groove one, and that's exactly what we saw to both Collins and Condon back-to-back.
Slade Alford hacking away, and he swings over the top of a breaking pitch, but 3 home runs in this game, all from different batters for the Bulldogs, and Alford foul tips one. Just going back to Condon, I mean, you're right, Lance. You're kind of running out of words to describe what it is that we're actually seeing from that man. Likely going to be the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming MLB draft. He's homered in 8 straight games. I don't think it's hyperbolic either to say that what we're seeing is, kind of best season ever for a college baseball player. I mean, he is that good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. And, what's lost is, look the play he ended the last inning. You had second and third, and he makes that play coming in. He's been playing center field, left field, right field, first base, third base. So it's not like he's, locked in and been taking thousands of ground balls all year. Nice pitch right there by Good. Down and away fastball. But it's one of those where he can do a lot of things. He can run. He's athletic. I mean, it's tough to find that comparison. Derek Lee kind of comes to mind, a little Chris Bryant while he was in college. It's not many, because you don't find many 6'6" athletic guys that can hit for power, hit for average, have a good eye at the plate. So it's a rare thing.
Charlie Condon has hit 34 home runs this year. He has struck out 35 times. So he has nearly as many home runs as he does strikeouts this year. 6'6", 216 pounds of pure athleticism and power for Charlie Condon, as Trey Phelps takes a called strike, and see if Ty Good can settle in here. He gave up the 2 homers to Corey Collins and Charlie Condon, then got the fly out and the strikeout. Phelps responsible for 1 of the 3 home runs in this game. This is the 27th game this season, by the way, Lance, that Georgia has hit 3 or more home runs.
Yeah, that's just crazy. And then that's why you have that 125 now, I think you said?
Curveball hit Phelps in the helmet as he tried to duck out of the way. That is also the 100th hit by pitch this season for Georgia, which is top 10 in the country.
That's one of the most frustrating things as a pitcher, when you let that curveball go just a little too early, and you want the guy to get out of the way so much, but they know it's not going to hurt, so they just kind of take it, and he takes it in the head, not where you want to, but Georgia's used to taking them.
Yeah, 125 homers now on the year. It shatters the previous record of 109 for Georgia that was set back in the 09 season. Paul Tate's 1 for 1 with a single in his last at bat. Georgia's already got 5 hits in this one, and Tate's Chases a fastball out of the zone for strike 2. And Tates hits one on the ground towards short, and Leekroy will go to second with it to get South Carolina out of the inning. But Lance, Georgia continues to match.
Yeah, the old Collins to Condon, back-to-back jack. Beautiful swings right there. Ball is jumping. We got 7-3 ball game.
Well, after his 34th homer tonight, Charlie Condon has now homered in 8 straight games. Here are all 8 straight games with homers in them, and Charlie Condon continues to just, mash the ball. That one might have been the furthest of all of them. Went over that little white umbrella out there past the left field wall. It is 7-3 now. Georgia has hit 3 homers in this game. Charlie Condon back out in the field. And Holton Smith back out on the mound. See if we can settle it down here, Lance. Let's see if we can have a half inning with no runs. How about that? Because we haven't had one with less than 3 runs yet.
I think that anybody will take one. You're not worried about the crooked number. You just don't. Yeah, let's keep a straight one. Even if we give up runs, let's not make it the crooked one.
Gavin Casas will come up for his first at bat. South Carolina sent 8 to the dish in the bottom of the first. And Casas lifts one out to shallow left field. Tate's coming in on it, and he makes the grab. 1 away. All right, here's this week's Sunday night baseball game. Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves taking on Pete Alonso and the Mets in this NL Series finale. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN. ESPN Deportes and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, with baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown. So Casas flies out, turns it over to the top of the order, and Austin Brindling, who walked in his first at bat. And the 0-1 is outside. We told the story about how Brindling entered the lineup for South Carolina in that Arkansas series a couple of weeks ago. What a funny story about his first at bat, Lance. So, called strike 2 that Brindling doesn't like, but his first at bat as a starting position player for South Carolina was against Hagen Smith. Now that's a tough way to kind of ease your way into a lineup in the SEC, to face a guy who was one of the top prospects in this year's draft. And then on top of that, Lance, he works a walk, right, off of Hagen Smith, and then promptly gets picked off at first.
Oof. Well, it's not a fun at bat no matter what, but especially being left-handed. Hagen Smith is all the way on the left side. It's a little side slinging, so that ball's got to seem like it's behind your head.
I called strike 3. Brindling was definitely still thinking about that strike 2 call that he didn't like. And 2 outs on the board.
Yeah, the pitch right before that was a little up, and that one seemed to be the same, but he knew right when that ball crossed the plate, curveball up in the zone, which you usually don't get called, the curveball up in the zone, much less the fastball up in the zone. So when you get an umpire to give that one, it's tough if you got a big breaking curveball.
Petrie has extended his hit streak to 9 games already with a single in his last at bat. Came around to score.
Let's go, Pet Dog. Let's go, Pet Dog. Come on, baby.
And Petrie lines one out to left, his second hit of the night in 2 at-bats. Cruises into first base with a 2-out knock. Well, that's already the 9th hit of the game.
Here comes Blake. Here we go, Blake. Get something going for it.
And we aren't even through 2 innings yet as Blake Jackson steps up to the plate. For those just joining us, Blake Jackson, you will see, has an RBI double in the scorecard right now, but it was a bunt that went barely past the infield, and Jackson was able to leg out a double because of it, and he also brought in a run. But I don't know, you don't see too many bunt doubles, Lance.
No, I don't think it left the dirt.
Yeah.
But it was a perfect, just bring it with you. You know, the second baseman's covering, the first baseman couldn't get it. Your goal is just get it past the pitcher. He did it, and it was beautiful. And then the Gamecocks base runners just took off, and it was just chaos.
Blake Jackson gets hit by a pitch. Now South Carolina will have it first and second with 2 outs. Cole Messina coming to the plate. Thirteenth time that Blake Jackson's been hit by a pitch this year as well. Messina struck out looking back in the first. Reigning SEC Player of the Week takes a strike to start off his second at bat of the night.
Come on, boys. Let's keep doing us.
And hit on the ground sharply. Tough hop at short, and they get the out. And the force at third base. Branch able to get it out of the mitt and get Georgia back to the plate. Bulldogs lead it on the road by 4. It's 7-3 after 2. Well, it's getting down to it. Here are the NCAA projected regional sites as it stands coming into the weekend right now. There's a UCSB holding it down out west. Other than that, it is all pretty much in the southeast, with the SEC and the ACC holding down most of the regional sites projected again this year. Still a couple weekends left to play, and of course, you got conference tournaments coming up. The SEC tournament always going down to Hoover again. Matter of 2 weeks they'll be playing there. Both these teams are fighting it out for a potential regional host. Georgia looking to host for the first time since 2019. Of course, South Carolina hosted here last year. But, I mean, Lance, you talk to coaches. That's a big deal to host. Even Wes Johnson was saying before this week got started, you know, not thinking about it, but yeah, it would be huge if we could host a regional at Foley Field this year. And Ty Good with a strikeout to Clayton Chadwick. That's the third K for Good.
All right, slows them down, and then you speed them up right there, and you see a little bit late from Chadwick. Again, when Good's right, I mean, the all-speed is the best pitches, and then he sneaks in the fastball. So he kind of pitches backwards. We'll go all-speed early, finish with the fastball late. But, Sam, going on your conversation, everybody wants to play at home, and the coaches know how important it is to get your fan base, especially the weather's usually nice, the temperatures are warm, people want to go out to the ballpark, and just know how much easier it is to win at home than it is on the road. So if you want to keep your season going, you know, hosting is the right way to go.
Well, you know better than anybody. I mean, just sleeping in your own bed. I mean, that goes a long way, and being able to stick with your same routine, and that is huge. Georgia has played incredibly well at home this year as well, so that doesn't hurt. It's Colby Branch with 1 out, nobody aboard in the top of the third inning. Georgia has already mashed 3 home runs in this game, all from different players. Charlie Condon has broken the single-season home run record in the BB-Core era with his Division I leading 34th homer. Corey Collins went yard as well. And this one by Branch is hit high and deep out to left, going back. Jones at the wall, can't make the grab. Colby Branch will coast into second with a one-out double. And the shortstop has his 8th double of the year.
That's a good swing by Branch, but too much of the plate on the breaking ball and just up in the zone. I thought Jones was going to have a shot. Just looked to me, missed time to jump a little bit. But, man, the Bulldogs offense, it's relentless. It's one of those things where they're doing everything they can to score every inning. It's 18 of their last 24 innings, Sam. They have scored a run dating back to the Vanderbilt series.
Georgia is 3rd nationally with a video game-esque .601 slugging percentage coming into the weekend. They average over 9 runs a game. Fernando Gonzalez takes a called strike. Now, if you can limit the offense, like Mississippi State was able to do back in early April, then you have a shot. But, I mean, you've got to be able to have some good pitchers and locate pitches well against this really veteran and experienced lineup. Ty Good delivers, and it's down. I don't know, if you're a Georgia fan, Lance, I don't think you could have asked for a better, year one under Wes Johnson, right? I mean, all things considered, he told us on the call this morning that I think he only had 3 pitchers that had thrown more than 5 innings in SEC play when he arrived on campus. And, lots of changes, just 7 players who took an at-bat return for Georgia as well. And a swing and a miss from Gonzalez. Gets 2 outs on the board.
I agree 100% with you. Coming off of the year they had last year, another good all-speed pitch. That's just a right-on-right changeup. Love the right-on-right changeup, especially to an aggressive team. But Coach Johnson, he inherited, obviously, Charlie Condon in a lineup, but they did a good job of bringing in some guys, pieces here and there. But when you come in as a pitching coach and you see the experience and you're like, we need to do something. But if that's the guy you brought in as the pitching coach from LSU and his big league time with the Minnesota Twins, he's the guy that can turn that around, and he's getting it turned around. Because it takes a little bit to learn that philosophy of what you want, guys to do and how you want guys to pitch. And now that they're, as the season's going along, they're throwing the ball better. And if they can do that, I'm telling you, it's a scary team. Nobody would want to play this team, especially face this lineup.
Off-speed pitch in for a strike to Corey Collins, who hit one about 400 feet over the right field wall in his last at-bat. Another weird one for you. Corey Collins has been hit 23 times this year. He has struck out 26. Make it 27. Ty Good with 3 strikeouts in the inning. In between a double from Colby Branch, he strands him on second. The Gamecocks come to the plate down by 4. Oh, welcome back. South Carolina is playing some really good baseball recently. You see the numbers there, 14 in the RPI, 15 strength of schedule, and a really good non-conference RPI as well. But it's really been the last 2 weekends where you're starting to see the power come back to this offense. South Carolina fans starting to see the South Carolina team that they were accustomed to seeing last year. They're averaging 8.5 runs a game over the last 2 SEC weekends. Parker Nolan will lead it off, but 78 homers on the year for South Carolina, 20 of which have come in the last 8 games. Put up 5 homers in the midweek against Winthrop, and Nolan laces one out to center field for a leadoff single here in the bottom of the third. All right, here's the Week 7 UFL schedule. Saturday, the Renegades are going to look for their first win against the Showboats at 1 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN+. And then the 6-0 Stallions host the 5-1 Battlehawks on Fox. And a doubleheader on Sunday on ESPN. Panthers, DC Defenders at noon. Good weekend of some spring football for you. Kennedy Jones drove in 2 in his last at bat. RBI single. Now, George is looking for a little revenge here this weekend. South Carolina swept Georgia last season in Athens. And then they ended their hopes of an NCAA tournament in the SEC tournament. They beat them 9-0 on day one to end Georgia's season effectively. So South Carolina won all 4 matchups last year. This is the 139th meeting in a series that dates all the way back to 1896. But the road team has won each of the past 4 series. That is a little interesting nugget there. Colton Smith, the 2-2 delivered, and a breaker in for a called strike 3 to Kennedy Jones.
Well, how about that sequence? It's fastballs down, and then he goes with the big breaking ball up in the zone, and again, right at the belt. Showing he's going to call the high strike, and gets it again.
Dalton Reeves struck out in his first at bat, and he takes ball 1 out of the zone. A lot of power in Dalton Reeves' bat. 7 homers and 2 doubles in 69 at bats. Hit 12 homers last year at Presbyterian. And he hits one hard and into center field. First to third goes Parker Nolan. And he is there safely. So South Carolina has him on the corners with 1 out in the bottom of the third.
It's just a good piece of hitting right here, Sam. Just ball in the middle of the zone, just tries to go up the middle with it, gets it into center field, and good base running by Parker Nolan. Gets a little first to third action.
Reeves has kind of been the backup catcher most of the year behind Messina, but his bat has just been so good they can't keep him out of the lineup. So he's kind of slid into that DH spot, and a bunt attempt pulled back by Talmadge LeCroy. And it'll be ball 1. LeCroy 0 for 1 today. I know he looks like he's going to try an offer here, but this is a guy that South Carolina, if they can get him going, you're already starting to see other guys start to heat up like Messina and even Casas, Reeves, Petrie. LeCroy was a guy that hit 290 for this team last year. That averaged down to 250 this year. Swinging away here and cuts through a fastball, 2-1. LeCroy batting just .233 with runners in scoring position. He'll square around here, and he gets a bunt down, a really good one, and the squeeze works. 7-4 now. South Carolina will cut it to a 3-run ball game. Well done by LeCroy.
You're right. It's just a perfectly executed, just safety squeeze. You just get the ball on the ground, get it to the first baseman, gets that RBI, and moves another guy into scoring position. You see it again. When you play the game the right way, good things will happen.
Gavin Casas now with 2 outs and a runner on second in Dalton Reeves. And Casas rips one towards first on the ground. Underhand toss to Smith, who covers in time. Job well done by the pitcher to get over and cover. We will talk to the head coach for Georgia, Wes Johnson, when we come back with his Bulldogs in the lead by 3. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. Here at Founders Park, game 1 of 3 this weekend between a couple of top 15 opponents. Georgia is in the lead 7-4. We are joined by the head coach, Wes Johnson. Coach, thanks for taking the time. Charlie Condon's going to lead off this inning, and he has just broken so many records this season. Already broke another one tonight with 34 homers. That's the new record in the BB-Core era. I mean, we're running out of superlatives to talk about what he has done, but you get to see him every single day. You see the work he has put in all season long. Just talk about what he has meant to your group this year.
Yeah, I mean, he means everything. Not only is he a great player, but, you know, you look at everything he does. He leads in the clubhouse. He's a great student. And then, you know, on top of that, he's a great person. And it's just the kind of guy, you know, I've told people I don't know that I'll ever coach another one like him in my career.
Well, Coach, again, getting away from hitting, because obviously for me it's going to be pitching that's going to take you guys as far as you go into the postseason. As the season's going on, you guys have made a lot of adjustments. What has those been to get the results that y'all have gotten lately?
Yeah, you know, it starts with attacking the strike zone, right? I mean, you know, we were walking too many guys too early. Guys were nibbling and just weren't, you know, as you know, you get good hitters out in the strike zone, and to get them to chase, you've got to be in there. And we were trying to go about it backwards, trying to get them to chase before we got in the strike zone. So, you know, those are some things that we work on quite a bit with.
Coach, we appreciate the time. We'll let you get back to it.
Okay, thanks, guys. Go Dogs.
You got to keep your head on a swivel, too, when Charlie Condon's at the plate. I mean, he can rip one over there. Ball and 2 strikes as Good delivers. Condon lays off it 2-2. What do you think the biggest adjustment will be for Charlie Condon at the next level, Lance? Because you played and pitched against some of the best to ever do it. But it seems like he's got all of those intangibles. Foul ground. Messina tosses the mask in. He makes the catch. Really good play by the catcher. Saw him wait to throw that mask there, too, so he didn't run over it.
Yeah, he still almost threw it under his feet. I just think it's the biggest thing is facing guys like in college. You don't command the ball as well as the guys in the big leagues. Like you see right here, he tosses the mask. That's what you're taught. But as the ball starts to carry right where he throws it, but again, athletic catcher from Messina. When it comes to big league pitching and college pitching, the guys are just more consistent with better stuff. And so you get guys like Charlie Condon out by throwing the ball inside, but not just staying there. You got to move it in, you got to move it out, you got to pitch up, you got to pitch down, you know, change speeds on multiple pitches. And that's just when you get to the big leagues, guys can do that a lot more consistently, and that's what's just going to have to happen. And he'll have to just see that more and more. Now you get guys that are scared to pitch to him. They're scared to go inside because they know if they miss, they're going to get it crushed. And all of a sudden they're 2-0. And then when they're 2-0, they know they're going to get in trouble for walking the guy. So then they were like, all right, now I got to, you know, feed the strike zone. And then he still makes them pay.
Dylan Goldstein hits one hard down the first base line, and it gets over the glove of Petrie. Goldstein trying to leg out a double, and the throw comes into second, a head-first dive there. Dylan Goldstein with a one-out double. That's his 11th of the year.
And just another extra base hit for the Dogs. That's 6 extra base hits out of their 7 hits. And I love what Coach Johnson talked about. We were trying to do it backwards. We're trying to get guys to chase. Again, that's a fastball down the middle, just a beautiful swing by Goldstein. and showing you that, hey, there is protection behind Condon. So if you think you can relax after getting him out, you really can't. But that's where guys as pitchers, we think, hey, Chase, I got to be perfect. And so he talked about nibbling, and then you find yourself behind in the count. Well, guys get aggressive when you're in the strike zone. So he talked about getting good hitters out in the strike zone. So if you're pounding the strike zone, and then you expand the zone, guys are going to be a little bit more aggressive, and they're going to be more apt to swing at those as opposed to, spraying the ball all around. Then they know, hey, he's not been in the strike zone all day. I can be patient with him.
Alford has struck out twice tonight. And this one scoots away from Messina. Goldstein will take third on it. Wild pitch. Well, hasn't been the cleanest game, that's for sure, Lance. And this is only game 1 of 3 this weekend between two teams that desperately would love a series win. It'll be really interesting to see how both coaches play this one, because you have a lot of baseball left this weekend, and already both sides tipping into their bullpen in the first inning.
They're also showing right now how they're going to play it, because you got the infield in the 4th inning. And that just shows you to the coaches how important, especially to Coach Kington, this one run is. You do have a ground ball pitcher and good out on the mound, so he's trying to get that ground ball.
Gets a strikeout instead. Alford not seeing it well tonight. He has struck out 3 times.
Again, his best pitch is a changeup, and he'll throw it to anybody, any part of the count.
Yeah, you're right. It was initially ruled a double and then reversed to an error on Petrie. That's a tough E3 to give to Petrie there. That ball was roped. Phelps with a home run swing there, and he ends up with strike 2. A 3-run blast back in the first to get the offense going for Georgia. They've hit 3 homers in this game already. Ty Good trying to get out of the inning, and he spikes one. Trying to overthrow there, Lance?
It looked like he slipped, and I think he slipped a couple times already this game, because I've watched him, scrape the mound after a certain pitch. I mean, how about the athleticism by Messina? That's not easy to do. That ball's almost in the other batter's box that he had to jump out and block.
1-2 on the way. Phelps swings and misses. Strikeout certainly there for Ty Good. He's got 7 so far tonight. South Carolina needs some more offense, trailing by 3. All right, welcome back, folks. We go to the bottom of the 4th here. Georgia leads at 7-4. You get a look at the RPI top 10 according to our good friends at D1 Baseball. Texas A&M still number 1 despite being knocked off that spot in the rankings after their loss to LSU over the weekend. Last weekend, Kentucky and Nick Mingione's crew continues to win SEC series. Clemson is right there. North Carolina is a quiet team, but they're putting together a really good season in the ACC. And then how about there towards the bottom, Indiana State and East Carolina. Indiana State and the Sycamores, they've won 17 consecutive conference series in the Missouri Valley Conference. Number 9 in the RPI, and they're looking to host for a 2nd straight year there in Terre Haute, Indiana. Austin Brindling will lead it off in the bottom of the 4th, and a called strike. Always looking forward to this time of year, Lance. It's such a great time because, you get the usual suspects up there, the teams that have been there before, but then there's always a couple of sleepers that you don't expect to make a run, and then they do, whether it be in a conference tournament or in the NCAA tournament in a regional, and always the unexpected 1 or 2 teams that makes it to Omaha. And generally turn into fan favorites. Coastal Carolina was one of those teams a couple years ago.
Yeah, fans just love the Cinderella story. You know, I think of Old Dominion last year, right? Or no, Oral Roberts.
Yep, Oral Roberts last year. Brindling is safe at first. Collins had some difficulty fielding that ball. See what they rule that.
It's amazing what speed does. It just puts pressure on a defense, and just a kind of a routine ground ball, just a two-hopper. I don't know if he needed to slide after that, but once he slides, drops the ball, then kind of panics and goes with the rush throw.
They're going to give Brindling a single on that. Here's Ethan Petrie. So Colton Smith now 2 2/3 in relief on the mound for Georgia. Just can't get over the strikeout numbers for Colton. 78 strikeouts in 50 2/3 innings this season. That's insane. Off the end of the bat foul by Petrie. Well, we were talking about this upcoming Sunday night baseball game between the Braves and the Mets. How about there? Pete Alonso and Ethan Petrie, they go back to their days in Florida. Land O'Lakes. Petrie says that Pete Alonso is a guy that he looks up to. Pretty good guy to emulate, too. He's got a pretty good career. Future a little bit unknown with the Mets right now, but we'll see what that holds after this season. Mets fans want to keep him. Big swing and a miss. How about 79 strikeouts in 51 innings for Colton Smith? Well, we mentioned it. Here is this week's Sunday night baseball game. Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves taking on the aforementioned Pete Alonso and the Mets in that NL Series finale. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown. Blake Jackson off his fists into the seats there down the left field line. Hit by a pitch and a RBI bunt double. Runner taken off, and Gonzalez bobbles it. Couldn't get it out of his glove. And a stolen base for the Gamecocks. Georgia has had some really difficult times this year with runners on base. That's the 49th stolen base against Georgia this year. That is the most in the SEC. Two and two. Catchers get a lot of blame for the stolen bases, Lance. Not always the catcher's fault, right? I mean, it's a two-way street there with the pitcher and the catcher.
You're right, and as pitchers, there's a lot of times we just, want to focus. They say you're obviously focusing on the hitter, but you still got to be smart. You still got to work on holding runners, but a lot of times we as pitchers, we say, it's okay. I don't care where he goes, and, you lift the leg higher and you should. I thought Smith did a great job, and I think if you talk to Fernando Gonzalez, he realized that was a good pitch to throw on. He just, as he goes to the transition, doesn't get the ball. But you're right, Ravi. Most of the time, stolen bases, they're stolen off of the pitcher more or less than the catcher.
Fourth stolen base of the year for Austin Brindling. He's on second. And a 2-2 count to Blake Jackson. Foul tipped and hung on by Gonzalez for a strikeout. How about 5 strikeouts for Colton Smith? Both relievers are racking up the strikeout numbers. Ty Good's got 7, Smith with 5.
Yeah, a little tight slider. See, good downward plane right there, and it going in as well. So just locks up that hitter. And that's what pitchers believe, right? I don't need you to throw a guy out or hold the runner on. I'll just strike him out. At least Colton Smith does.
Messina 0 for 2 to start the night. Strikeout and a ground out. We will talk to the head coach of South Carolina Gamecocks, Mark Kingston, on the other side of this break in the top of the 5th. Check swing fooled Messina there.
That's a beautiful pitch. 92 fastball on the black, low and in. And you can see guys just don't want that ball, and that's why you see the check swing. He's geared up for the fastball, and then it just kind of shocks him as it goes in on him.
Chases one down there for strike 2.
Be surprised now if he goes back in or goes right back to the same pitch, because you set him up, you've shown him in, then you've gone away with the breaking ball, so you can go to the same spot with the breaking ball or even finish him off in again.
1-2. There's that curveball. And he got him out in front for strike 3. 3 strikeouts in a row to retire the side for Colton Smith. And Georgia holding on to the 3-run lead, 7-4 after 4. All right, folks, welcome back to the SEC on ESPN. We are now joined by the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, Coach Mark Kingston. Coach, appreciate the time. A lot of runs scored early in this game. It's settled down as of late, but what do you make of the start of Game 1 of 3 this weekend?
Well, it looks like a little Thursday night football on the SEC network. So, hopefully at the end we end up with more runs. But again, it's a lot of good hitters in this ballpark right now. A lot of good hitters in the ballpark. So the pitchers just need to battle on both sides, and hopefully at the end we have more.
What is the message, Coach, to the team, especially the lineup, knowing that they have to come back from a deficit early on?
Yeah, look, it's a 3-run ball game right now. So if we hadn't given up 4 in the first, it would just feel like a normal ball game where you're in the middle innings and it's a 3-run ball game. So just keep playing, just keep taking good at bats, and that's what this thing's all about.
Coach, we appreciate the time. We'll let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.
It's head coach Mark Kingston. Already heard from Wes Johnson in this one. Yep, a lot of runs early. 7 runs scored in the first inning of this one, but has slowed down. Both relievers have pitched well. How about Ty Good's outing so far tonight, Lance? 3 2/3. Did give up 3, earned 2 homers to Corey Collins and Charlie Condon, but outside of that, he struck out 7.
Yeah, he has been really good. I love this stuff. Again, I like the way he pitches. Everything's just under control. He's a guy that truly has the 4-pitch mix, because he'll throw any pitch at any count, and obviously the changeup, that's it right there, is the best pitch and the go-to out pitch when he gets 2 strikes.
Changeup feels like a lost art a little bit in baseball, especially in the younger pitchers you see in college. You don't see a lot of really good changeups in college, but it's such a great out pitch at the next level that a lot of pitchers have to then go develop that pitch at the next level. Were you a guy that was a good changeup, pitcher early on in your career, or no?
Well, I thought I had a decent changeup, and because I didn't throw a breaking ball until like my freshman year in high school, which is very, very rare nowadays. You'll see them at 8U, 9U. You don't need, it's really not even kid pitch yet until 9U, but guys will go early and they'll start throwing breaking balls. You're like, man, this is way too early. But it just, that the coaches, you give a lot of leeway to the coaches calling pitches, and it really didn't use the changeup. It was mostly fastball, curveball, and
Paul Tates gets a hold of one, gives it a ride out to left center. Kennedy Jones is there. Makes the catch running on the warning track.
It's a spot where I wish they would have called it more, and I would have thrown it more and developed more confidence in it, because I think it is the best pitch, because it looks, if you can throw it and it looks just like your fastball, that's the toughest pitch. If you ask hitters what they would rather see, they'd rather see the breaking ball, because you can pick up the spin and it's got a different shape to it. The changeup, if it comes out of the hand looking just like the fastball, it's tough to not swing at. I think we might have a little injury right here.
Yeah, it looks like they're checking on Ty Good. You mentioned, too, he's been slipping a little bit on the mound tonight, a couple of times. He's shaking his head there, but, yeah, 81 pitches, now a season high for Ty Good. He has been used in high leverage situations, and here's a little look at his, what is now 7 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, he's going with the fastballs, a couple of them, and then he'll show that changeup. I love how he pitched backwards to that at bat to Chadwick. But you're seeing some ugly swings on that changeup down.
Struck out 7 last weekend against Missouri as well. We said he gave up the 2 home runs. He came into this one with only 4 home runs allowed. Clayton Chadwick is flied out and struck out tonight. Squares around and pulls back for ball 1.
But to go to back to the conversation about the changes, I believe that pitch is coming back. And you're starting to see it, because I think guys start to see, the pitching ninja on Twitter and all the highlights, and they're seeing, how devastating the changeup can be. So then that trickles down, right? It goes to the college game, then goes to the high school game, and then goes to the travel ball circuit. So I do believe the changeup is coming back.
Just speaking logically, right? A curveball puts a lot of strain on that elbow, and if you can pitch a changeup, like you said, the same arm slot, the same look as a fastball, it might save you a couple injuries down the road too. And Ty Good has a really, really good changeup. He spiked one there. Ball 4 to Clayton Chadwick. That's the second walk of his outing. All right, Sunday, our SEC baseball coverage continues with a triple header over on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. First up, number 4, Kentucky, facing off against Florida in a huge series down there in Gainesville. Then a top 15 matchup in Fayetteville. Number 14, Mississippi State, playing good ball right now, taking on number 5, Arkansas. And then finally, number 3, that's right, number 3, Texas A&M, not number 1. They dropped in the rankings, and they will take on a struggling Ole Miss team at 6 Eastern on Sunday. But it all starts noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central. All right, that's going to be the end of the day for Ty Good. He's able to give him 4 strong innings in relief. Tyler Dean will be the new pitcher coming on for South Carolina. We'll talk about Dean and his stuff when we come back. It's 7-4 Georgia in game 1 of 3 this weekend. All right, welcome back. Tyler Dean, right-hander junior, transfer from Virginia Tech, makes his way into the game, represents the 3rd pitcher used by South Carolina. Outside of a blip in a strange outing against USC Upstate back on March 19th, Dean hasn't allowed a run outside of that one game. He gave up 4 in that one outing, but other than that, he has been really good.
Yeah, you got your standard 1-inning reliever, fastball, very firm, up to 96 miles an hour. 2 breaking balls, slider, curveball. Just a lot of it depends on the hitter, but also how he feels.
And that got a piece of Colby Branch. So make it 101 hit by pitches this year for Georgia, after an earlier HBP to Trey Phelps. So Bulldogs will have 1st and 2nd with 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Well, that's probably not the way that you want to start your outing coming out of the bullpen there. Now Fernando Gonzalez. First pitch high and in for ball one.
Deep breath, force out there. Here we go, 4-9. 4-9.
See if Georgia tries to play a little small ball here. Gonzalez, the number 9 batter. And he'll square around again. Takes a strike. If nothing else, too, Lance, it takes you out of a potential double play ball, too. And, you know, that's in effect now, but I don't know.
I think he's just doing it for show, trying to stay ahead in the count, see if he would distract the pitcher. Because you don't, with one out, you already got a man in scoring position.
Oh, Gonzalez out to left field, looking up, and it's out of here. Forget the sacrifice. A 3-run blast for the number 9 batter. And Gonzalez has 9 homers on the year. The 4th in this game for Georgia. It is 10-4.
They've been true to form, Sam. Take their walks, take their hit batters, and also have a lot of pop, and that's what you see. A walk, a hit batter, and a homer 3 runs later.
Four home runs in this game. 126 on the year. And we were talking about it early, Lance, when this game was 4-3 after 1 inning. I don't know too many teams that can get in a track meet with Georgia. If you want to just start scoring runs, Georgia probably wins that battle 9 out of 10 times. Here's the home run hitters. 14 different players have hit a home run for Georgia this year. 13 players have hit more than one.
Well, you know, Coach Johnson, he strolls in as a pitching coach. You go, that's not what I want to see. But sometimes you just have to embrace the way the makeup of your team is and just watch the ball leave the yard.
Two to Corey Collins. As Dean delivers, and a breaking pitch misses low.
Hey, get him down, Dino.
Full count to the leadoff man, Corey Collins. Another 3-2 on the way. The one thing that South Carolina pitchers have done well coming into this series was keep the ball in the ballpark. Coming into tonight, Lance, they had only allowed 45 homers. That was good for third fewest in the SEC. For context, Georgia has allowed 67. And so far tonight, Georgia has hit 4. Collins hits one sky high into the lights here at Founders Park. Shift was on, so LeCroy makes the grab behind second base for out number 2.
Well, just the approach is just patience, and get your pitch to hit. And again, a lot easier said than done. But right now, the way the Bulldogs are swinging it, they are doing their approach to perfection, just getting guys on base. And, you know, watching the pitcher nibble just a little bit and knowing that he's got to come over the plate, and they're making him pay.
Charlie Condon back up to the dish. Already 34 homers, broke the record back in the second inning for single season homers in the BB Core era. The story has been told before. Charlie Condon, the only actual offer that he got was a preferred walk-on spot at Georgia as he takes the ball up and in. And it was the prospect that everybody missed on. But now he's not missing at the plate. 59 career homers. That's a program record. And, yep, there you go, an intentional walk. I got to be honest, Lance, I'm surprised we waited this long. Bases open, I mean, put them on.
I mean, it's come down to that, and I've asked a couple guys, I'm like, I don't know why he keeps getting pitched to. And no matter who's behind you, he keeps showing you he's making everybody pay, whether it's high velocity, good stuff, everywhere, he makes you pay. And so you saw right there, he kind of looked, and Cole Messina's like, yeah, man, go to first. We don't want to pitch anymore.
Now Dylan Goldstein, and swinging away first pitch. Flight out to left, playable for Jones, and that will do it. So intentional walk to Condon. Gets the fly out there, and then the 3-run homer earlier in the inning. Fernando Gonzalez, liftoff out to left. 4th home run of the game for Georgia, and they lead it by 6 now, 10-4.
No party like a watch party. Very interesting to see how the committee seeds these teams. We knew they were going to get in. We've got Omaha covered. Pulled off a little bit of a surprise. They are in. Let the road to Omaha begin.
Oh, it's coming. Selection Monday on ESPN2. You could just leave your TV on what it's on right now. Just leave it on for the next couple of weeks on ESPN2. How about the Kentucky Wildcats? Nick Mingione's squad have just continued to win year after year. And they're in a potential super regional spot. They've been one of the most exciting teams. You mentioned earlier, Lance, how tough it is to win on the road. 14 road wins for Kentucky this year has been critical for them. And it's a program record, 14 road wins. And that's a hit by pitch there. Nolan takes one on the knee out of the hand of Colton Smith.
I thought that one of the impressive things you see too was 17-5 in the quad one from Kentucky, and that's just getting it done when it matters the most. And you got to give a lot of credit because they play a different style of ball, the Wildcats. It's a lot of small ball, base running, putting pressure on the defense. Doing a lot with defense and pitching.
Well, we talked a lot about the SEC. How about the ACC? They are right behind the SEC. ACC projected to get 9 teams in the field, according to our friends at D1. Of course, Clemson, Coach Bakich, tied with North Carolina atop the ACC standings heading into this weekend. They're both 17-7. Been an interesting year for the reigning #1 overall seed Wake Forest. Team that won all 10 of their ACC series last year. They're just 12-12 in ACC play, but they have won 6 in a row. Huge series this weekend for the Demon Deacs. They're hosting #2 Clemson, so that's one to watch. Final game of that series will be on ESPN2 also on Sunday.
Well, that's definitely a team you don't want to face when it comes to the postseason with the arms that they can roll out, especially a guy like Chase Burns. And if they're able to win that first weekend regionals, you go to super regionals and you got a 2 out of 3 format, you start to feel a lot better about yourself with the arms.
So Fernando Gonzalez, after just mashing a 3-run homer, will head out to the mound. A little quick talk from Wes Johnson to Colton Smith here. Smith's gone 3 2/3, 6 strikeouts, no walks. He has hit a couple batters, but only the 1 earned run allowed.
Yeah, he really has had that cutter working. You see, it's about the 84. And then he's got the big overhand breaking ball, a couple punch outs on that. The fastball's been good. He's even mixing in changeups. I mean, a 4-pitch mix of a guy that's just moving the ball in and out, and again, keeping the ball away from those hitters. And been economical, too. There's only 51 pitches in his 3 2/3. Or 53. Looking at the wrong thing.
Kennedy Jones with Nolan on first. Parker Nolan just 4 stolen bases on the year. Neither of these teams really run a lot. That is something that Kentucky does do. They run a ton. Just talking about them. 3-0. In for a called strike. Home plate umpire Navarro January has favored the upper part of the zone so far tonight. And Jones fights one off into center field. Now first and second, nobody out. South Carolina looking to put some runs up here. They're down by 6 and have not scored since the 3rd inning. Dalton Reeves singled in his last at bat. 1 for 2 tonight with a single and a strikeout. Dalton Reeves was a Big South All-Second team member last year for Presbyterian, just about an hour away from Columbia. Those two teams, South Carolina and Presbyterian, play just about every year, Lance. Last year, Reeves had one of the team's 3 hits against South Carolina in what was a 5-0 shutout that the Gamecocks won. This one chopped back towards short, could be 2, and a 6-3 unassisted double play turned in by Colby Branch. Does indeed move Parker Nolan down to 3rd, though, with 2 outs.
Pitcher's best friend, just a chopper and a great play right there by Branch. Takes it himself. Tough for South Carolina. You got a big inning. You can look at Colton Smith already knows it. He's fist pumping before the catch is even made.
Look out. Pitch high to Talmadge Leakroy.
Here comes Brett.
Leakroy had the squeeze bunt his last at bat. Cuts through a fastball at 93 for strike 2. Foul tipped. Leakroy able to stay alive. Colton Smith searching his 7th strikeout tonight.
It's coming that way.
Leakroy does work really good at bats, despite some of the struggles that he's had this year. He's 2nd on the team in walks. 36 on the year. Did have a really good fall. Coach Kingston really high on him, and one of those players that embodies what South Carolina and their identity is as a team. It's just a fighter.
And sometimes you have bad luck as a hitter, right? You can do everything that you're supposed to do. You hit balls hard, you just hit them right at guys, and things just don't happen for you. And that can be the difference of a 290 something, like you said, he had last year, and a 240 something that he's at this year. Just a couple hits here and there, things to go your way. But as long as you don't change the approach and you keep doing what you're supposed to do, that's all you can ask.
Flies one out to center. Clayton Chadwick squeezes it for the final out of the inning. All right, we're through 5 here in this top 15 showdown. Georgia leads at 10-4. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Columbia, South Carolina is where we're at. Top 15 showdown, game 1 of 3. Getting your weekend started early. Georgia leading at 10-4. They have hit 4 home runs in this game, including a Charlie Condon blast, his 8th consecutive game with a home run. That's how Georgia's gotten their offense. Gamecocks scored 3 runs in the first, but since just 1 run. Ty Good had a solid outing, did give up a couple of those homers, but struck out 7. And Tyler Dean will continue on the bump as we start the 6th. Alongside Lance Cormier, I'm Sam Ravitch. Great to have you along with us. And a hanging breaking pitch is ripped down the third base line. It's a fair ball in for Slate Alford, who had struck out 3 times prior to that at bat.
Ravi, and you guessed it. Another hit, another extra base hit. That's 8 extra base hits out of their 9 total hits. That's got to feel good after 3 punch outs when everybody else seems to be hitting, and you got 3 Ks on the lineup card to get that double.
Everybody in the starting lineup for Georgia has at least 1 hit except Clayton Chadwick, the center fielder in this game. Trey Phelps swinging away, grounder towards third, picked up by Casas. Throw is low. Petrie can't scoop it out. Alford stays at second. Some speed in the DH spot for Trey Phelps.
Boy, the spin on that ball, you can see as Casas has to reach for it, that just basically turns his feet and his body. Is not in a good throwing position, and he knows he has to rush because of the speed of Phelps, and that's why the throw's a little off, and Petrie not able to come up with it.
So first and second, nobody out for Paul Tates, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Worth mentioning too, LC, that South Carolina has had to shift some of their defense up this year. Will Tippett, who was their shortstop for most of the year, went out with an injury. And at the start of the Kentucky series, they really had to shift around most of their infield. Casas, who had been a DH for most of the year, played some first. He went over to third base. And then Talmadge Leakroy, who had been their third baseman, moves over to short to cover Tippett's spot. And then Petrie takes over at first. So a lot of moving pieces defensively for South Carolina. Tough to do midseason, just switch positions like that.
Yeah, but it shows also, too, just athleticism, but just the willingness to adjust and just be a true team player. And that's what you want guys to be able to do that. Now, a lot of guys, everybody wants to play shortstop usually, or, I want to be the center fielder, the premier positions. But being able to play in multiple positions makes you so valuable to a coach, and especially if you have injuries or, maybe somebody's not playing well and somebody else can, and they can't play that position, but you can, and they can shift you around.
Hitter-friendly count to Tates, and Dean misses low for ball 4. Bases will be loaded for Georgia as they look to add some more runs here in the 6th. Just has not been the day for pitchers, really, on either side. Colton Smith's done well in relief, but it has been a tough stretch for South Carolina to get some outs against Georgia tonight.
Well, you had 6 walks, 2 hit batters, so you're given 8 free passes. The team already has 9 hits and 8 extra base hits. It just doesn't. It's not the recipe for success against a hot-hitting club.
End of the day for Tyler Dean. Well, we mentioned Georgia and their ability to leave the ballpark in a hurry. They've hit 4 home runs in this game. None of them were cheap shots either. I mean, all 4 of these balls were smashed, including that one from Charlie Condon, his 34th of the year. And then Gonzalez, his 9th, was a 3-run homer as well. Now, Georgia also, Lance, has hit 10 grand slams this year. That is a program record. And they have the bases loaded for Clayton Chadwick, who, as we just mentioned, is the only Georgia Bulldog without a hit tonight in the starting lineup. All right, in the meantime, our NBA playoffs conference semifinals continue with a couple of game 3s tomorrow night on ESPN and the app. Knicks Pacers is at 7 Eastern time, then Nuggets Timberwolves with New York and Minnesota coming up 2-0 there. Countdown crew tips off our coverage at 6:30 Eastern time. Well, Major League Baseball draft coming up this summer, and we talked about Charlie Condon being projected as the overall #1 draft pick. Now that puts Georgia in some rarefied air if that were to be the case. You see the schools with a #1 pick in the MLB, NFL, and NBA drafts. LSU, UCLA, and potentially Georgia can join that group if Condon goes #1.
Well, that's just crazy to think about that. That's how good programs have been. I mean, look at 5 in the NFL. And how about Coach Johnson would almost, I don't know what he would be coaching back-to-back years, having the #1 overall pick in your dugout.
Yeah, you had Skeens, Cruz as well going right behind him. Cruz might have been the #1 pick if there was no Skeens. And now Charlie Condon. So, all right, Drake Quinn will come in and try and quell this offense for Georgia that has just been relentless tonight. Just continuing off of the weekend, last weekend against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Quinn, a little sidearm slot, so he's coming in trying to get the ground balls. Is in this big situation to be in right now. Trying to get the ground ball, keep this at 6 runs. Again, this is an offense, South Carolina at home. They can score some runs as well. And I know it looks bleak right now, but you're able to get a big strikeout, turn to double play, give yourself some momentum. But right now, anytime you give up any more runs, the offense it starts to be a little bit harder. It just mentally an approach. Coach talked about not giving up at bats, but that's hard to do and hard to think about.
1-1 to Chadwick, and he fouls it off at the plate. So we mentioned the 10 grand slams for Georgia, too, a program record. They hit 6 in 1 week, LC, at the beginning of March, and it was done by 5 different players. That's how dangerous this offense is.
Well, I mean, we've already shown 14 guys have hit a home run.
Yeah.
You said 13 with multiple.
Yep.
That just shows you the depth of the lineup.
Chadwick, not a big home run guy. He's got 4 on the year. And the 2-2. Chop foul. Chadwick had a stretch of games. It was a 5-game stretch where he went over at the plate against Ole Miss and A&M, but he might have figured something out. Went 3 for 8 in the Vandy series with an RBI and 4 walks. Patience at the plate has been big for him. The 4 walks in that series last weekend were the most that he'd had in any series all year long. Worked a walk in his last at bat. And he might have gotten hit there. Regardless, it's a walk, and a run will score for Georgia. And that'll make it 11-4 Bulldogs.
Just right off the elbow pad, take that RBI. I know he wants to get into the hit column, but Still, again, positive AB.
Quinn, the fourth pitcher used by South Carolina tonight in game 1 of this series. 3 Georgia batters have been hit by a pitch. You mentioned the walks, 2 LC. A total of 9 free passes now. Base is still loaded for Colby Branch. That was a home run swing there from the shortstop. Branch, by the way, 15 homers for a shortstop. That's pretty good. He's second on the team. He's third on the team with those 49 RBIs as well.
But just look at the production they get from the bottom of the lineup. We've already seen Gonzalez get his 9th home run, but you're talking almost 2 guys with over 43 RBI in the 8 and 9 slot. That's really good, and 25 home runs.
Out to right field, fairly deep on the warning track, and the catch is made as Jackson reaches up. Run will score from third, and that'll make it 12-4 on the sac fly RBI off the bat of Colby Branch. He was awfully close to what would have been his 4th grand slam this year.
It's just a great at-bat right there. It's productive. You get all the runners to move up, get the sac fly. And you're talking just get the ball up in the air, but he does it deep enough, and you can see the flags kind of moving in the back. The wind's starting to blow out a little bit. That ball just kept carrying, and heads-up play by Chadwick to get to second base.
Gonzalez had the 3-run homer his last at bat. Fans at one there. 0-2. Oh, Quinn fooled Gonzalez on 3 pitches. And he was nowhere close on any of those swings.
Yeah, he had him late on the fastball, early on the breaker. You're right, just didn't look comfortable the whole at bat. Nice outie right there by Quinn. Just a tough slot sometimes for the right-handed hitters when you see the guy look like he's going to drop down, and it's still it's not quite sidearm, but it's definitely not over the top.
So Collins up to the plate with 2 outs, runners on second and third. Jam shot. Charlie Condon in the on-deck circle. Corey Collins has certainly worked his fair share of walks. Again, the nation's leader in on-base percentage. If he is somehow able to get on first, nowhere to put Charlie Condon that time. If that does happen, that's... Does he get the Barry Bonds treatment? I mean, are you walking in a run if Condon comes up with the bases loaded? You got 2 outs, so.
If it's a different ball game, if it's not with 2 outs, but also not an 8-run deficit. If it's if you're up by 2 or 3, yeah, I think you probably do.
Just foul off the bat of Corey Collins. Corey Collins playing in his 183rd game today for Georgia. He missed 20 games at the end of last season with a hand injury. He actually missed some time at the start of this year as well. But you're starting to see that across college baseball too, with some of the extra years of eligibility. Guys playing, north of 200 games. Good take there to run it full 3-2.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough for a lot of the young guys out of high school coming into college baseball, because the game's just older. And so when you see, freshmen, especially true freshmen, burst onto the scenes, to me that just shows you how impressive and talented those guys are, because a lot of 21, 22, 23, even 24-year-olds are playing college baseball, and that's grown men almost compared to young boys coming out of high school.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming to Collins, and it's outside, ball 4, bases loaded for the home run king, Charlie Condon. I mean, you just can't script it any better than this. Charlie Condon, 34 homers, broke the record earlier in this game.
I heard someone yell in the stands, "Can't walk him now."
I did hear that too. Oh, swinging away there, popped him up, foul ground, and the catch is made. Petrie's able to snag it. Good pitch made too by Drake Quinn. Got him up and in. Georgia adds a couple. It is 12-4 Bulldogs. And we're back. Georgia added 2 in the top of the 6th to make it 12-4. They've hit 4 home runs in this game. South Carolina has been held scoreless the last 2 frames. But a lot of offense here on game 1 of 3 this weekend between these 2 top 15 teams fighting for potential hosting spots in the upcoming NCAA tournament. Alongside Lance Cormier and our entire crew in Columbia, I'm Sam Ravitch. Great to have you with us. Getting your weekend started a little bit early here in the SEC. Thursday, Friday, Saturday series between these 2. Final weekend of SEC play will conclude next weekend, and the teams will make their way down to Hoover for the SEC tournament. And Gavin Casas lifts one down the right field line, hooking foul and out of play. Of course, a lot of folks will know the last name Casas. Of course, his brother Tristan, first-round pick by the Red Sox back in 2018. Unfortunate news, though, for Tristan. He got a rib injury at the end of April. He's going to miss some time with that, but had been playing really well for the Red Sox. Gavin Casas began his career at Vanderbilt. Didn't have the results that he would have really liked to see. Actually challenged his love for the game, Lance, and he's talked about that a lot. And he said that coming to South Carolina really rekindled that love for the game, and just a great example of the good side of the transfer portal and how it can actually really help players who, feel stuck, one place for a variety of different reasons, and it gives them a chance to grow in their game. And Casas rolls one over towards second, and it's bobbled by Alford. Casas is safe at first. Let's see if that'll get the South Carolina offense going here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sam. Just to be able to move on, and some guys need just a different scenery. Different words coming into their head about whatever it is about their game, different coaching styles. Not every place is a good fit for everybody. So the transfer portal does bring that, allow that, and again, like you said, ignites the spark and just truly the love of the game, because it is a game. It's a fun game. It's meant to be fun, but sometimes when you're at a place, it cannot be fun, and then you become miserable, and school starts to suffer. Everything starts to suffer, and it's like, hey, so to be able to get to a new spot, start over.
Back to the top of the lineup for South Carolina and Austin Brindling. Good take there. Brindling 1 for 2 tonight with a single. Scored a run back in the first. That one scoots away from Gonzalez. Up to second goes Casas. That ball really got away. So we've had a couple of wild pitches in this game. We've had 4 hit by pitches. Actually 5 hit by pitches in this game. A lot of walks as well. Bringling holds up, but a called strike 2. Colton Smith just misses on the inside corner. Colton Smith is going to get a ton of credit for what he has done for Georgia so far in this game. Jarvis Evans got the start, and he only went a third of an inning. Colton Smith has taken over. He's gone 4 2/3 and has struck out 6, only given up 1 earned so far. Payoff on the way, and Brindling just gets a piece.
They've still got a lot of juice in the arm. Fastball, 94. I think he's a little maybe mad about the last pitch. I think he thought he had strike 3 when it on that 2-2 fastball. Looked to be on the inner third, and so juiced up a little bit on that last fastball.
And Brindling takes just low. Well, if you didn't like that previous pitch, Lance, I don't think he's going to like that one either. Our NBA playoffs conference semifinals continue with a couple of game 3s tomorrow night on ESPN and the app. Knicks Pacers at 7 Eastern. Then it's Nuggets Timberwolves with New York and Minnesota up 2-0. The Countdown crew tips off our coverage at 6:30 Eastern time. All right, South Carolina needs to capitalize here, Lance. You got first and second, nobody out, and the dangerous Ethan Petrie at the plate. If they want to try and make a late charge at this game, it's probably going to have to happen here in the bottom of the 6th. At least try to chip away at this lead.
Yeah, you're still in the middle of, you got 3 at-bats after this inning, but you got nobody out. So, yeah, this is the time to start chipping away, especially where you're at in the lineup. Ethan Petrie with multiple guys on base. He's already, what is he at? 48 RBI, and then you have Jackson, Messina, a bunch of guys after that. So, you know, if with runners on base, now's the time to get some guys across.
Smith's got him 0-2. Good take. Petrie has found his power swing as well as the rest of the team has. Enters this series like we have seen, 19 homers on the year, 4 of which have come in the last 5 games. He left the yard twice last weekend against Missouri. And a breaking pitch off the end of the bat foul.
That little slider cutter, it's been around the 84 to 86, has been his money pitch. He's just kept it away from the right-handers and tied up the left-handers' hands. And it looks just like the fastball coming out of the hand, and that's what makes it so tough, because it's got just that tight spin at the very end, enough to get off the barrel of the bat.
That was a hanging breaking pitch that Petrie lined foul. Looked like that one backed up on him a little bit, LC.
Yeah, Gonzalez wanted, he's tapping the ground and wanted it on the ground, and sometimes catchers will do that just to distract, but that's exactly where he wanted that big breaking ball. That was the curveball, and a lot of times when you don't throw it as much, which he hasn't really thrown it, you tend to lose the feel of it.
Oh, look out. That sets up that slider curve there. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming. That's down and away, 3-2.
Good hitter like that almost knows exactly what's coming. the fastball is a little too up. You're not wanting to go that high because that truly was a non-competitive pitch. But that's almost like clockwork. You're going to go fastball up, breaking ball down. Good take right there by Petrie.
Try to challenge him with a fastball there. Really good at bat put together by the sophomore Ethan Petrie. What a year he had last year. Broke so many records, including the South Carolina freshman record for both home runs and RBIs. He had 23 homers, 75 runs batted in as a freshman. Oh, and that hit him. That got the helmet. And yeah, looks like he's good, but that was scary. They're obviously going to be overly cautious there. Anything up near the head area, want to make sure, but it looked like he just got out of the way. That could have been really bad.
Yeah, I think the ball actually broke his helmet, but he did a great job of letting everybody know, like, I am perfectly fine, okay, but I like how they, just to make sure, you just want to make sure. But
yeah, looks like he's kind of pointing to where it might have made contact and just kind of grazed the helmet. So South Carolina will have the bases loaded here and nobody out. Colton Smith has run into some trouble here. Blake Jackson has been the hero more than once for South Carolina already this year. Still a long way to go, but we'll try to chip away at this lead. Jackson set the tone for that Kentucky series win 2 weeks ago. In game one, South Carolina was down heading into the ninth inning. Jackson hit a game-tying home run to send it to extras, and then he won it in the 10th with a home run. And he lines one out to right field, and a diving catch is made by Goldstein. Run will tag from third, and Casas, he will score. The throw comes in on the infield. It'll be an RBI for Blake Jackson, and it's 12-5. Goldstein took an interesting route at that. Was able to
the ball
make
just
the
hit
play.
so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're all right. You get the sack fly, but man, you know you wanted more out of that. Bases loaded, and you absolutely crushed this ball. Blake Jackson gets every bit of it. Just doesn't get enough lift, and just seemed to start to die. And a great play by Goldstein, and just comes up firing. I know South Carolina scores a run, but boy, they really hoping that ball would have gotten by him.
So now you got Cole Messina up. Messina hitless tonight after taking home the SEC Player of the Week honors for what he did last week. And a check swing fouled at the plate. And he's behind 0-2. Messina, like we said, came into this game 13 for 25 over his last 7 with 5 homers and 4 doubles, 15 RBIs. 5 of those games were multi-hit games as well. But he was a guy that got off to a tough start. He actually went 0 for 11 in the first SEC series of the year. And he fouled it off his foot there. That doesn't feel good. You know, Lance, I never really played baseball at the highest level, so I've asked the level of pain that a player endures when they foul a ball off their foot. And the best description I got was when somebody told me, if you want to know how it feels, just take a hammer out and just nail your left foot with that hammer. That's what it feels like.
I can probably agree to that. That's what I think it would feel like. I didn't get enough contact to foul it off my foot ever, really.
And Messina goes down swinging for a crucial out number 2 for Colton Smith. He's got 7 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, nice job right there by Smith. He's going in, and the whole night they have gone in. The Georgia staff is going in on Messina. He just fouled that ball off the foot. Beautiful cutter. Had some downward action away. Big time pitch.
This is a meeting on the mound to check on Smith. And I think he might be feeling something right now. So they got the training staff out there to check on him. 89 pitches for Smith tonight. 5 1/3 innings in relief. So he has been used quite a bit in this game.
Yeah, season high is 103, so he's definitely under that. I didn't really see anything.
Put one in the gap right here, Park. Put one in the gap. Let's go.
He's trying to stretch it out, whatever it is, and see if he can continue and get this final out of the bottom of the 6th. All things considered, too, South Carolina, the bases loaded and nobody out. So far, they've only been able to get 1 run. That was a sac fly RBI off the bat of Blake Jackson. And there's Parker Nolan. He's been on base all 3 times he's been at the plate tonight. Good pitch there from Smith.
Park. Have some fun up there, baby. Let's go. Shoot one the other way, Park. Come on, kid. Park.
1 for 1 with a single tonight for Nolan. He has walked and was hit by a pitch in his last at bat in the 5th.
Park. Good kid.
You ever try to pitch through an injury that you got during a game, Lance?
For sure. Something very similar to what he had. Mine was on the other side, though. Like, he looked like he was holding the oblique. It was one of those situations in the bullpen. I knew the team I needed to be out there, like, meaning we didn't have enough arms. Guys weren't fresh. It was like, you don't need to go back in the bullpen again. It's the last inning. Feel like you can get that last out, and, boy, it hurts. But everything you got to do, and he looks like he doesn't, it hasn't hurt him.
Nolan lines one into right. Bringling comes in to score. Petrie will be held up at 3rd, so South Carolina able to get another run out of it on an RBI knock from Parker Nolan. His 2nd hit of the night. And it is 12-6 now.
I love the fight right here by the Gamecocks. Just like Coach Kingston said, you have a lot of at-bats. You continue to just don't give away outs. That's the biggest thing. If you start giving away outs and going up there just out of your game, that's how you're going to lose the ball game. But if you just keep going in there trying to do what you do, Parker Nolan continues to get on base. With that 4 in a row?
Been on board all 4 at-bats, and Kennedy Jones has been swinging a hot bat. As Smith checks over at first, the ball gets away. Petrie comes in to score from 3rd on the E1 by Colton Smith to make it 12-7. That is, by the way, the 4th error of this game. And it proves costly here for the Bulldogs.
Well, this is why you teach at third base on the 1st or 3rd. When you're at third base and the guy goes to pick, you don't go back to the bag. You take a big secondary, and that way if the ball just gets away, you can see at the very end, Petrie takes his secondary, and you see the ball go away. easy run.
Well, all 3 runs that have scored for South Carolina in this inning have been unearned. So 4 runs allowed by Smith, just 1 earned so far. Roberge is up in the bullpen for Georgia. And the pitch is down. Ball 2. Kennedy Jones hit a homer in the midweek game against Winthrop, one of 5 South Carolina home runs in that game. Foul tips one at the plate, and now he's coming up limping a little bit. Really experienced right-handed bat. Jones gives this lineup some length. Smith just trying to get out of this inning. Now up to 99 pitches. The next one will be an even 100.
You can start to hear the crowd get in a little bit more.
Yep.
The feeling of, I mean, they're wanting that big hit right here, a shot in the gap, something positive for Kennedy Jones, and I feel like the momentum is starting to shift toward the Gamecocks.
Big 3-2 pitch here. And Jones out to left field, and it drops for a base hit. Parker Nolan held up at third. Jones cruises into second. And South Carolina might have something cooking here. 2 outs, runners on second and third. You see Colton Smith looking over to that dugout.
Yeah, just he didn't get it all. Just got enough. Perfect placement. 3rd hit of the night for Kennedy Jones, and just continuing to go, keep the Gamecocks offense going. And well, now you're talking, hey, 1 swing of the bat, you got a brand new ball game.
And we will step aside for a pitching change here. Christian Maracna will enter for the Bulldogs. End of the day for Smith, and he departs with 2 in scoring position and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
The excitement that surrounds this tournament, the best conference tournament in all of college baseball.
Save me, so my bones have been aching.
Oh, he tattoos it!
Time to make a stand.
Man, I'm all jacked up. Let's get to Hoover.
Well, there's nothing like it. SEC baseball tournament down in Hoover. We'll be starting in less than 2 weeks. Colton Smith, end of his day, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 1 earned, 3 unearned runs. Did walk 1 and struck out 7. But it just looked like he ran out of gas there a little bit. And Christian Maracna will enter the game. The senior, 6'5" out of Lake Worth, Florida. And a 4.86 ERA, making his 16th appearance.
Yeah, a lot of the same. A lot of high strikeout guy, fastball in the 89, 93 range, slider, changeup. He could be rotation guy, just a good innings eater out of the bullpen. So look for a lot of the same from Colton Smith.
So South Carolina has put 3 across here in the bottom of the 6th. They've got 2 in scoring position. Tonight, South Carolina is 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That's a .231 batting average. Georgia is 2 for 10. Dalton Reeves takes ball 1 down. Reeves 1 for 3 with a single that came back in the 3rd. Grounded into a double play his last at bat. And Maracna with the 1-0 at the belt for a strike. Outside of Reeves, 2-1. Nolan's on 3rd, Kennedy Jones on 2nd. Swing and a miss. Fastball beat Reeves up high to even at 2-2. I was telling the story about Dalton Reeves and his Presbyterian journey. Well, the team's played again this year, and Reeves, against his former team, hit 2 of his 4 home runs on the season in 1 game against his former teammates.
Ouch.
And a called strike 3 here. Maracna comes in and ends the inning. And Strand's 2 in scoring position. Georgia holds on to a 5-run lead. It is 12-7 as we go to the 7th here at Founders Park in Columbia, South Carolina. Oh, here we go. We mentioned it, just 2 weekends remain in the SEC regular season. Kentucky still with the lead, 18-6 this year. And they're playing at Florida this weekend. Tennessee right behind them. Arkansas is there as well. It's tight at the top with those 4 teams. And then you get into the, well, who's going to host down there with the Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi State trio. And then you get into the bubble conversation of teams like LSU, Ole Miss, Florida even, as they're hovering around 500 right now. It's going to be a really interesting finish. And, you know, there's always something to play for at the SEC tournament. I feel like this year, especially early on, LC, there's going to be a lot of teams that are just trying to play their way into the field.
Well, it shows you what you got to play for, right? You just mentioned a couple teams that are on the bubble, so knowing they need 1-2 wins in the tournament, and you have a couple teams like we showed, Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi State, that might need 1 or 2 wins to solidify being a host or even possibly move up into the top 8.
LSU was a team that was 3-12 in the SEC about a month ago. The reigning national champs, 3-12 in SEC play a month ago. But they've won 3 consecutive series. As this one popped back out of play off the bat at Goldstein. They took down the then #1 Texas A&M last weekend, but is it too little too late for LSU? And then you got the whole Florida conversation where they're a game over 500 right now.
Well, if you go on the Ole Miss season a couple years ago, it's never too little too late, right? You get in. That's and you have a shot, right? And LSU is a ball club that they're usually not in this situation, but notoriously as the weather gets warmer, everybody always says after tax day, LSU starts playing their best baseball. I mean, I can remember back in the day watching the gold jerseys, in the mid to late 90s of those LSU teams that were winning championships with Skip Bertman. It's like you didn't want to see him in that gold jersey late in the season, and that's the type of just mentality that they have. And so cue the 3 series wins in a row, and it's exactly what they've done. And what's to think it's going to stop with the talent they have?
Yeah, hold the rope is alive and well at LSU right now as they're continuing to win series. Goldstein with a leadoff single. Here's the projected SEC teams in the NCAA tournament right now. Now you see the numbers in the to the right there of those teams. Those are the projected national seeds. So South Carolina right now a projected number 16 national seed. Remember, the top 16 national seeds host regionals. The top 8 national seeds host regionals and potentially a super regional if they win their regional. So Slade Alford will step in now. Georgia looking to get some runs back that they gave up in the home half of the 6th. We mentioned LSU, and we also mentioned that Paul Skeens is going to be making his Major League debut, long-awaited Major League debut. Pirates announced yesterday they're going to be promoting last year's #1 overall pick. He's coached by Wes Johnson, of course, at LSU. He's scheduled to make his debut Saturday against the Cubs. That'll be at PNC Park. But, I mean, he was just dealing at AAA Indianapolis. Had a .99 ERA, 45 strikeouts over 27 1/3 innings for Paul Skeens. And there's a strikeout there to Alford.
There's another one of these at-bats where the guys just don't look comfortable. Just a late swing on that fastball from Quinn. Hides the ball really well. I like how they've done it, though, with the Pirates. Perfect spot at home.
Yeah.
Gets the home crowd to be able to see the first pick, get to see his first start.
Trey Phelps with 1 out, runner on first. You remember the time you were called up, LC? Who was your first phone call after you got that phone call or got told you were going up?
First phone call was to my wife. I was in Edmonton, Canada. It was 2004, so we had cell phones, but you didn't use your cell phone because it was roaming when you're out of the country. So it was a straight calling card, and
yep.
You had to dial 20. It seemed like 25 numbers to get out of there, and so it was to my wife and then to my parents, and it was really cool because the farm director Tommy Jones was coach with San Diego. He wanted to be the one to tell me, and so it was, hey, meet me. The coach was like Chip Hale was actually my head coach or manager in AAA, and he was like, meet me in my hotel room, and they had a phone on speakerphone, and so it was nice and it was fun, and actually got to fly. Our AAA team was in Tucson, and I got called out when I was with the Diamondbacks. We were playing at home, but the AAA team, we were flying from Edmonton back to Phoenix, and so I got to ride with the team going back there. They just got on a different plane when they got to Tucson.
Here goes Phelps again out to left center field, and Phelps leaves the yard. His second home run of the night. A 2-run blast this time. And he blows a kiss to the dugout. The 5th homer of the night. And Georgia leads at 14-7. Wow.
Yeah, he's hearing a little bit from Coleman City. He's got a long home run trot, but when you hit it this far, you're allowed to do it, my man. Beautiful swing. That's what you talk about, getting extension through the ball. That first one was a little high, barely got over the fence. That one was absolutely crushed.
That is a true freshman right there, folks, too. Trey Phelps has been hammering the ball since he came back and returned from an injury in the middle of April. He's hit 4 home runs over the last 6 games. And that gets 2 runs back of the 3 that Georgia gave up in the bottom of the 6th. And gets the lead back up to 7. Here's Paul Tates taking a strike. Every South Carolina pitcher tonight, Lance, has given up at least 1 home run.
Not the stat they wanted to hear. I thought where you're going was
there's no positive.
hitter.
There's no positive twist to that, Lance. It's just a
absolutely
pure
not.
stat, and then I wanted to get your reaction off of it. That's all. Called strike 3. There you go. There's a little pitcher comeback there. Good response after the home run from Drake Quinn. And he's got 3 tonight.
A nasty little breaking ball. A lot of times you see sidearmers, more of a sweeper, get that side-to-side movement on the breaking ball. That was a little up-down. Froze him.
So 2 outs, top of the 7th. Base is clear after the second home run of the night by Trey Phelps. And a jam shot back to the mound. Quinn down to grab it. Underhand toss to first, and that will retire the side. But not before Trey Phelps leaves the yard for the second time tonight. Trey Phelps continues to mash the ball. He's got 7 homers on the year. And Georgia extending the lead once again. It is 14-7. We'll stretch it out here in Columbia. Oh, welcome back. This is a cheerful South Carolina fan, even though they are losing by 7. 14-7 is the score. And Georgia continues to mash the ball. 5 home runs in this game. South Carolina felt like they were able to chip away at the lead in the bottom of the 6th, but then they gave it right back. And a little 7th inning stretch action here at Founders Park. Christian Maracna back out on the mound for Georgia. It'll be 8, 9, and 1 due up for the Gamecocks here in the home half of the 7th. Talmadge Lecroy, born and raised in Belton, South Carolina. I know Talmadge's uncle fairly well, Matt Lecroy. Played for the Nationals for a while. Coach in the Nationals organization, was up with the big league club last few years, returning this year as the AAA manager. There he is. I knew him when he was with the Harrisburg Senators. I was with the Richmond Flying Squirrels a couple of years. One of the best names, if not the best, in minor league baseball, I contend, the Richmond Flying Squirrels, AA affiliate of the Giants.
The Diamond, right?
That's right, the Diamond. Where was your favorite minor league stop, Lance?
Definitely wasn't Richmond. I can tell you that. Durham was fun to be at. Yeah. A lot of the low A teams. I can remember the Midwest League was a fun league. Obviously, that's my first taste of pro ball. So just being in professional baseball, some fun times. But heck, I came up in the Arizona farm system. A lot of hitter-friendly parks.
Yes.
El Paso, Lancaster, California, Tucson, Arizona. They used to say in Tucson to shag in the summertime when it was 108, like all the hitters would go inside after they hit. The bullpen, the relievers, they didn't have to shag. So it was just like the 4 starters that weren't pitching and like a couple coaches. And you just walked along the warning track because every ball – the ground was so hard it would just roll to the fence. So that's how you shag BP. And so to be on bucket, you were like, if they overthrew the ball, it was rolling so far away from you, it was crazy.
Like the greens at Augusta, just keeps going. There's a strikeout there to Lecroy. 1 out for Maracna.
Told you, just like a lot like Colton Smith coming in, just lots of punch outs, and right here, just challenging with the heater. The ball just has a lot of carry on. You see, starts belt, goes a little bit up. Lecroy not able to lay off that pitch.
Gavin Casas now. He hit one hard his last at bat. It was initially ruled a double and then changed to an E4. Came around to score in the 6th. But 0 for 3 tonight. Oh, and that hit him. That was up right in that elbow pad, but that is a lot of pain right there for Casas. Now Coach Kingston is having some words with Gonzalez. the catcher for Georgia. It's starting to get a little chippy here as we get later on into these innings. I don't know, Lance. This might have started when Trey Phelps was rounding the bases a little bit slow as well. And Coach Kingston out having, there's Wes Johnson now shaking his head.
Yeah, it's the fourth hit batter. I mean, both teams, we got 7 hit batters so far tonight. 4 South Carolina Gamecocks have been hit, and I think it might have, the frustration might have been the ball that hit Petrie almost in the face, and then, yes, the slow home run trot. Messina's barking back at him, and then a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball off the elbow inside on a guy that's been throwing the ball where he wants too. That's the tough part when you watch a guy throwing the ball where he wants, and all of a sudden he hits him.
All right, so Casas stays in the game. He's over at first after the HBP, and back to the top of the order now in Austin Brindley. Well, both sides warned here by our home plate umpire, Rivero January. Big cut from Brindling there. LC, you and I have called and been around the SEC long enough to know it doesn't really matter how late in the game it is. Even a 7-run lead isn't a safe lead.
No. Especially with the style of play that both these teams have, that, and as you've mentioned, South Carolina notoriously has been a good home run hitting team. Started off a little slow, but has been hot as of late with the homers. So I agree, and especially with the amount of outs that they have left. And if you give guys free bases with hit by pitches, stuff like that, and you make an error, and they've shown they've already made 3 errors, Georgia has, so you never know.
Again, we said it earlier, if you want to get into a track meet to see who can score the most runs, Georgia is probably going to win that battle most of the time. 1-2 to Brindling. Swing and a miss. Maracna got him with the high heat. Third strikeout of the outing for Christian Maracna, and he's through an inning of work.
Again, he loves the fastball. It just rides up on him. Once you can see the frustration Brindling has. It looks like it's a hittable pitch, but it's got a lot of carry on, and it just keeps going and just gets out of the zone, and you can't catch up to it. So you mentioned, Sam, the warning, both teams getting warnings now. It's a slippery slope where anything that happens that you'll get tossed quick. So it almost takes away the whole inner third of the plate, because you don't want to let one go and run in on a guy unintentionally and hit him, and you'll get tossed.
Just a quick conversation to figure out how they're going to attack Petrie here, and he goes inside on him, and he hits him. As the boos rain down.
I understand what he's saying. You can see it read his lips. What did you warn him for then? I mean, because that was not even close to a strike. He's been dotting up.
Oh, everyone's going to need a bag of ice after this one.
But I like Coach Kingston. I mean, that's his superstar. He's taken up for him. He's already been hit in the face almost, and
Jackson 1 for 2 tonight. RBI double came all the way back in the first inning. He's also been hit by a pitch. And he rips one into center field, but Chadwick is there. Played it perfectly, and once again, South Carolina leaves a runner in scoring position tonight. And Georgia holding on to the 14-7 lead as Chadwick gets talked to on his way off the field. Getting chippy here in South Carolina. Well, as things go in the SEC, especially when you get down to the last couple of weekends, teams fighting and jockeying for position in the postseason, things can get a little chippy, and it has gotten a little chippy here. Both sides have already been warned. We've had quite a few hit by pitches. This is Trey Phelps after he hit a home run, getting some words from Cole Messina, the catcher. And then Christian Maracno went in on Petrie after the warnings had already been issued. And then Blake Jackson lines one out to center field. Chadwick with a little point to the outfield there. Might have been hearing some stuff. And he got a word on the way in from the umpiring crew. So here we go. We pick it up, top of the 8th inning. And this is the at-bat to Casas here. But it has it's gotten a little bit hot here at Founders Park on both sides. Colby Branch will lead it off tonight, 1 for 2. He has hit the ball really far in this game. Was nearly robbed of a grand slam earlier. Hit it all the way back to the warning track in right field. His double hit off the wall in left. He's got 15 home runs on the year for the shortstop. And he pops one up on the infield. Foul ground. First baseman Petrie into fair territory makes the catch for the first out of the 8th. There have been 6 hit batters since the start of the 5th inning, courtesy of our great Ken Dunlap, who's been serving us excellent stats all night long. And a breaking pitch in from Quinn. Drake Quinn, 2 1/3 in relief. Gave up the home run to Trey Phelps in the 7th. Other than that, has been solid, and he steps off the back.
9 seconds. 9 seconds. I can read a clock.
Well, just a reminder, Lance and I will have this second game of this series tomorrow on the SEC Network. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern time. Get to see the reigning SEC Pitcher of the Week in that one. Leighton Finley for Georgia set to go. He was absolutely stellar in his last couple of starts. A career outing against Vanderbilt last week. Struck out a career-high 11, did Finley in that one. He'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, he's been a big reason the Georgia pitching staff, the numbers have improved over the course of this year. As you know, his last 3 or 4 starts have been really, really good for him.
And the 2-2. Breaking pitch, fouled off by Gonzalez. This whole influx of power thing must be infectious for Georgia, because Gonzalez has now hit 9 home runs on the year. He hit 6 all of last year. And he flies one out to center field. Brindling is there for the second out of the inning. Here is this week's Sunday Night Baseball game. Ronald Cooney Jr. and the Braves taking on Pete Alonso and the Mets in the NL East Series finale, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown. Corey Collins, leadoff man, 1 for 3 tonight.
You got here, Drake. Come in.
And the 2-0. Popped up behind home plate. That'll get out of play. Some other really big series going on this weekend in the SEC. Tennessee has been a interesting case. They are right on the heels of Kentucky. Tennessee, who South Carolina will see next weekend. They've won 7 consecutive series since opening up SEC play, losing 2 out of 3 to Alabama. And that's a walk issued to Corey Collins there. And Charlie Condon will make his way up to the plate. New home run king in college baseball, 34 home runs, 8th consecutive game with a homer here tonight. That came back in the 2nd inning. A .459 batting average would be a new school record as well. You know, Charlie Condon has told a really funny story too, Lance. He was a dual sport athlete like so many of these guys are in high school. He played football and baseball. He was the quarterback on the football team, but he was also the punter on the football team, and he tells a story that his poor quarterbacking skills often led to him punting more than he would have liked.
Hey, just whatever it takes to stay on the field, right?
That's right. How about that, a 6'6" punter?
Long leg. I bet he got some good leverage behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that conversation go with the coach? Hey, you don't want to kick as much. Try being a better quarterback, right?
Exactly.
Complete the passes.
That's all I got for you. And the 1-2. Bit low and away. No one has hit over the 500 mark since 1991. I don't know if we're going to see that accomplished again. It's just so hard to do that, but Condon is awfully close.
I think mentally it's tough, right? Because you know, if you go, heck, like where he was at the beginning, you go 2 for 4, your average probably dropping, right? And that's the tough part is, man, I was really good today, but the average is still going down.
He takes a walk, back-to-back walks after Drake Quinn was able to get a couple flyouts for the first 2 outs. That is the 9th walk issued by South Carolina tonight. Georgia's pitchers have been, in the zone outside of the 5 hit by pitches, but 3 conventional walks. Still 8 free passes there.
Yeah, but hey, when you look at stats and what most people go to look at is the walks to strikeouts,
that's right.
Those don't go down as walks. And
that's
so that's what, as a pitcher, when it comes down to the fall, you learn that, right? A lot of times pitchers will have to run, whether it's poles or whatever. If you have, no out walks or 2 out walks, sometimes it's good to just you get 3-1 and hit a guy, so you don't have to run.
Dylan Goldstein shoots one out to left field, and let's see, it got out of the reach of Jones. Thought he might have had a play on it.
I actually thought he caught it. Look,
I did
does
too.
a good job. He finds the wall, gets where he needs to.
Well, he overran it.
Yeah, the ball actually came back on him.
So Goldstein gets another life.
Oh, Drake!
Home runs have been the difference tonight. Georgia 11 hits, South Carolina 10. But when you hit 5 home runs in a game, that'll certainly give you a boost, and it has tonight. And outside, ball 4. Goldstein able to hold up his swing, so that is 3 walks with 2 outs for Drake Quinn to load him up. It's Joey Wittig up in the pen for South Carolina right now. Quinn, 72 pitches to get through 2 2/3 innings. And Alford, a big cut. Alford was less than pleased last time he struck out. 4 strikeouts tonight. He is 1 for 5. His lone hit was a double back in the 6th. And Alford chops one back up the middle. And a nice play by the shortstop, Leekroy, but he's safe off the bag. Hold on, now he's going to be out. As Goldstein left second base. I think he thought he was out initially on the flip from Leekroy. The run should have come in to score, though. Let's see if that'll count. Nonetheless, Alford grounded one back up the middle. Nice flip by Leekroy. And yeah, you see Collins coming in to score. We'll see if they will add that run to Georgia's ledger. If it does count, it will be 15-7. Bulldogs in the lead. All right, welcome back. Run comes off the board for Georgia there as Leekroy was able to flip to the second baseman, Nolan, who was covering. Here's another look at it. Bases loaded, 2 outs off the bat of Alford. Force at second. And after review, it was ruled that the initial foot was on the bag there for Nolan. So another look at it here. The stretch. Oh, it definitely came off the base, LC, but the question was whether it was on the base when he received that flip from Leekroy.
Yes, if it's off the base, if he catches it on the base, obviously force out, no runs out of the inning, and that's what eventually gets called. Did look like he might have been off the bag, but it's ruled as a catch right here, which makes it a force out into the inning. If you're Goldstein, you got to slide right there, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I'm not sure where he's going after that, but nevertheless, we go to the home half of the 8th. It is still a 14-7 lead for the 15th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Christian Maracna continues his outing. He's gone an inning and a third with 3 strikeouts. Well, the one issue for Georgia this year, or one of them I should say, has been playing on the road in the SEC. And if they're able to pick up a win here on the road at South Carolina to start off their weekend, that's a good sign. There you see the Bulldogs SEC games at home versus on the road. I mean, it's almost like 2 different teams. They're averaging about 10 runs a game at home. On the road, about 6 runs a game.
We talked about how important it is for the 3 teams in the SEC, Mississippi State, Georgia, South Carolina, to be in that host talk like they are now. to remain there. But, man, it almost seems like for Georgia, if they want to continue in the postseason, the recipe is there. It's got to be at home. They play so much better at Foley Field.
Yeah, they've been nearly unstoppable at home this year. The crowds continue to grow at Foley Field as well, as they do here at Founders Park. There's been some really good crowds last couple of weeks. Both these teams have won a couple of SEC series in a row. Another walk issued by Maracna. This time a traditional walk. He's hit 2. And then the walk here. Yeah, to your point, though, LC, you look at the Georgia pitching stats. 4 walks in 7 innings. Doesn't look that bad, but then they've hit 5 batters. So they have hit more batters than they have actually walked via the conventional walk.
Yeah, a lot of if you look at the hitting stats, it's going to go 0 for 8. I had that as the wrong one, but it's 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position. They've had the opportunities, and that's why they have 11 guys left on base. It's because you've given the free passes, just haven't gotten the big hits.
Nolan's had a good night at the plate. 2 for 2. He's been hit once. Over 200 hits in his collegiate career. And the 1-2 from Maracna, and that hit him again. That is the 6th South Carolina HBP tonight.
That's a tough place to get hit. I know they have those guards, but that still can't feel good.
So walk and a hit by pitch will bring up Kennedy Jones as Wes Johnson out to the mound. And I don't imagine it might be the end of the day for Christian Maracna here. Not too many words being exchanged between Coach Johnson and Maracna. And we will step aside for a pitching change here. Chandler Marsh will come into the game and relieve Maracna. 14-7, South Carolina with 2 aboard. All right, welcome back. Bottom of the 8th. 2 runners on for South Carolina. You look at the comparison between these 2 teams tonight. 23 free passes in all when you add up the walks and the hit by pitches. Georgia has committed 3 errors in this game as well, 22 combined. Runners left on base, Lance. A clean game this is not.
Well, you knew going after the first inning when both starters went a third of an inning, and
Correct.
not because they were obviously on a pitch count, because they weren't effective. It was going to be a fun one, and if you're an offensive-minded person, it has been a fun one.
New pitcher on, Chandler Marsh, junior out of Wellington, Florida, will come on for the Bulldogs. Represents the 4th pitcher used. And you got to look at his numbers so far this year, LC. Elevated ERA, but hasn't been used a whole lot either. This is his 9th appearance this season.
Yeah, it's tough when you don't have a lot of appearances to rack up innings. You have 1 or 2 bad outings, give up a couple runs. The ERA will be elevated, but I like the other stuff, though. 15-4 strikeout to walk ratio. Fastball is going to be low to mid-90s, at 93, 94 range. They got some strikeout stuff in this staff.
Coach Wes Johnson, I got to imagine, is just saying, we need somebody to come in and throw strikes. We have a 7-run lead, and we continue to just give free passes. Give South Carolina chances in this one.
Well, sooner or later, you play with fire, you're going to get burned, right? You keep giving the other team chances. He said it in his interview. Hey, we need to stop nibbling. We need to throw strikes. That's how we've kind of taken the next step over the last couple of weekends and thrown better. That's what we've done, and they've obviously reverted back to the old ways after especially this game.
Kennedy Jones has had a great night tonight, 3 for 4. 2 runs batted in, pair of singles and a double. It was named the top impact transfer going into the season for this team. Coming over from UNC Greensboro. And a big cut there. Good fastball located by Marsh. Coming off a first-team All-SoCon selection in 2023. Second in the league in hits. Batted .357 as a sophomore last year. He had 25 homers over the 2 seasons with UNC Greensboro in a ballpark that is not a home run ballpark. Certainly not friendly. And the 3-2 from Marsh is fouled off. We had the NFL draft in Detroit, LC. And Kennedy's brother, Sheridan, was a cornerback for Clemson for 5 years, played in 56 games for the Tigers. Went undrafted, but did receive an invite to rookie camp with the Bills. So, chances always alive. And Jones hits one sharply. That's a fair ball down the third base line. Cole Messina waved around third. Nolan cruises into third base. And Kennedy Jones just keeps hitting. That's his 4th hit tonight and his 3rd run batted in.
Boy, had himself in a good hitter's count. Fastball, belt high. Nice job of getting the hands on top of the ball. A lot of times you'll see hitters just miss it and they'll stay under it. Jones fights to get on top, gets himself a double, another RBI.
Down to a 6-run lead. Still nobody out, 2 in scoring position. And Dalton Reeves the batter. Inside to Reeves, 2-0. This one lined the other way into left. Jones being waved around the throat, doesn't even come in on the infield. That's a 2-run RBI single for Reeves. South Carolina up to double digits now. It's 14-10. And here we go, LC. We got a new ball game.
Absolutely. I don't know if you heard it, Sam. Right before that pitch, somebody in the dugout, and I know who it was, Coach Kingston, just could tell by the voice, says, boys, we're going to win this game. You got to feel it and you got to believe it. And sure enough, they just keep getting hits. And this is what happens when you start walking guys and just giving a lot of free passes. Sooner or later, these guys are going to get the big hits, and Dalton Reeves comes in huge and, again, keeps them going. Now it's a 4-run ball game. Still nobody out, though.
This was a 12-4 ball game not too long ago. Georgia had an 8-run lead. It has dwindled to 4 Still nobody out in the bottom of the 8th, and Talmadge Leakroy looking for his first hit of the game. Seen a couple of Georgia pitchers, Lance, in this game try to get comfortable on the mound. How long did it take you to get comfy on a mound on the road?
That's the hard part, because a good ground screw will have the bullpen nothing like the game mound, as close as you can get it that no one complains. But, the beautiful part about being at home is your mound should be the same. It should feel, when you leave the bullpen as you come out to the game mound, and exactly the same. But on the road, a little different.
Breaking pitch just misses outside. I mean, in theory, all mounds should be the same, but it just doesn't always work out that way.
Oh, absolutely not. And again, the backdrop behind home plate, all that plays into, how comfortable you feel on the mound.
Well, jam shot towards third. Condon goes to second with it over to first. Not in time. Leakroy beats it out. And we might have a review here. Alford turned it well at second.
South Carolina
I think they're going to check at second base, though.
Out at second base. The previous play is under review.
I think he beat it there.
First.
Yep.
Started off really nice by Condon. Already had a couple good plays at third base.
Oh, so yeah, they're checking whether Alford touched second with the ball, because it definitely looked like he was on the third base side of the bag when he got rid of the ball. So the call under review is out at second base.
That's a play where I go on the base runner's first instinct, right? So he slides, gets up, and just takes right off. He kind of knows it because he's the one watching the play just as well.
Right.
I think we'd have to get to it a little bit before that, because, you can catch it with your foot on the bag, come in front of it just to clear the base runner.
Well, what a turn of events this would be if this call gets overturned.
The call of out will stand. South Carolina loses the challenge, has one remaining.
All right, so South Carolina down a challenge there. And the call in the field does stand. Here's another look at it, LC.
Ooh, that's a better angle. I don't know, but obviously it not being confirmed, I think they just didn't have a great view from it. But they're trying to take away what the old school in the vicinity play, where you just had to be just in the area code of second base to get.
Whoa. Look out, Marsh completely slips. Just to our point earlier, just does it hasn't really felt like too many of Georgia's pitchers have been comfortable on the mound tonight. Like none of them really have felt comfortable.
I agree. Jarvis Evans, he had a lot of times he was when his foot was landing, it's almost like it had just a little bit of give toward it, and so he never felt comfortable, and it showed in that first inning.
And this one gets past the catcher, Gonzalez, up to second. Goes Leakroy. It's going to be a pass ball, I'd imagine. So a 2-0 count to Gavin Casas now. And a curveball falls in for a strike. That is a 12-6 curveball from Chandler Marsh.
It's one of those where you just go right back to it, and if it's the exact same spot, a hitter won't be able to swing at it because it just seemed like it's going to be too high. It just drops right in there.
Hey, find a way for us now. Here we go, Gab.
You never want to look too far, but South Carolina does have that huge series against Tennessee next weekend. It's at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, and then it's off to Hoover. A lot to play for both sides here. A 2-2 pitch and a two-seamer. Might have been the changeup, actually, that fell into the zone for strike 3. He got Casas looking.
Yeah, you nailed it, Sam. The changeup. It does look like the comeback two-seamer, but it's a changeup. A lot of movement. Casas doesn't believe that was a strike. I think he's right too, and you can see just the frustration and disbelief. Like, hey, that was off.
Said it earlier, LC, that the top of the strike zone's been getting called tonight.
You right.
Not so much the bottom half, but every umpire has their zone. I'm curious, is that something that you knew about in the major leagues? Were you aware of what umpire zones were and what their tendencies were?
There's definitely scouting reports on umpires where you get that and going, hey, yeah, this guy calls this better situations. I think it has trickled down into the college game now with TrackMan and Synergy everywhere showing all that. But I think that's the part that's really frustrated a lot of coaches is they've brought the strike zone onto the plate, right? Which, okay, I get it. But they haven't called the down and the up. So if you're going to bring the ball on the plate where it used to be like that, skinny rectangle where you could throw the ball, a couple of balls off the plate, get a strike, but they didn't call the belt. Okay, now you bring it on the plate, you got to give the belt, and the rules say it's even above the belt that you can call a strike.
Sure. Hitter-friendly count to Brindling. And a check swing, he doesn't love it. And the 3-2 for Marsh is fouled down the line.
Sam, even if South Carolina doesn't, make the comeback all the way, what it's done, though, is it's made Georgia go to their bullpen, pitch guys that are used to pitching in the high leverage situations, and that's something that South Carolina hasn't done. So when you think about, hey, let's go into the next games and see what happens, this little comeback has made Georgia use pitchers that they might not be able to use the next 2 days.
That is the 11th free pass issued by Georgia pitchers tonight. 5 walks, 6 hit by pitches will warrant a visit to the mound by head coach Wes Johnson. And Marsh continues to just pound his right foot into that mound. He doesn't really like his footing there right now.
It's just weird, though, because South Carolina pitchers haven't had that. And, again,
I
know it's home mound, road mound, but it's still the same mound, and the guys are pitching on the same thing. So if it was slippery and wet for one, it would be the same, unless the guys are just on one side of the rubber and the other team's on the other, because that's the tough part is, you'll see a hole where the pitcher might step or his drive foot might dig a hole, so another guy will have to move out of it, but haven't seen the Gamecock pitchers go through this kind of trouble with their mound.
And the dangerous Ethan Petrie to the dish. And a breaking ball in for strike one. Petrie 2 for 3 so far today. He has been hit twice in his last 2 at-bats. Both hits came in the first and second innings, and both were singles. Almost looks like Marsh has 2 different breaking pitches. One is that true 12-6, and the other one is a little bit less of a break.
Yeah, a little bit harder too, especially that one we just saw.
Now the 0-2, well outside. The one thing that Coach Kingston has said he would like Petrie to do a little bit of a better job at is be a little bit more patient at the plate. He actually said he'd like Petrie to take a Barry Bonds approach at the plate. And a called strike 3. That was a really good pitch by Marsh. Second strikeout of the inning for Marsh, and he's able to work around some trouble. South Carolina does put 3 across. They cut the deficit to 4 after 8. Well, Trey Phelps, the freshman designated hitter, has left the yard twice tonight. Once back in the first, and then in the 7th. These are 2 really well-hit baseballs. And Trey Phelps, since returning from injury, 7 home runs on the year now. And he will face Chris Veach to start off the 9th inning. This has been a long baseball game, has not been clean. We are nearing the 4-hour mark here in a traditional 9-inning game. That's not something you see very often anymore with the pitch clock and everything else that has helped speed the game up. But walks slow the game down, and we've seen quite a few of those so far tonight.
Yeah, you're right. Long, yes. Clean, no. But Chris Veach in here to come in and try to keep the Gamecocks where the game's at. Fastball up to 94. Slider, curveball, changeup. Changeup is his best pitch, so we're seeing a couple guys with some good changeups on this South Carolina staff.
It'll be 5, 6, 7 due up for the Georgia Bulldogs here in the 9th. And first pitch high and inside to Trey Phelps, as Veach tries to fix the pitch comm in the hat. Well, Phelps has a Georgia connection in the family. His aunt, Angel Robinson, is a former UGA women's basketball great. 2nd-round pick in the WNBA draft. Spent some time with the Phoenix Mercury. You see Veach slipping a little bit there.
I was about to say, yeah, just first time I've seen the South Carolina guys.
South Carolina has kind of quietly made this a game. They scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th. And there's that changeup there. Get Phelps 3-2. The last thing South Carolina wants to do is to allow any more runs to score here in the top of the 9th. Long run out there and right from Jackson, but that's a good start. One away in the top of the 9th inning.
Good back-to-back change-ups. He falls behind 3-1, gets the 3-1's big-time hack on the change-up, so I think it's smart go right back to it. You got enough trust in it to throw it 3-1. Go ahead and throw it 3-2. Gets the job done.
Paul Tates now. Now, worth noting, South Carolina will have 3, 4, and 5 due up in the bottom of the 9th. But the middle towards the bottom part of the order for South Carolina is where they've actually done most of their damage tonight. Kennedy Jones, Colton Reeves, those have been the offensive bats that have given South Carolina life tonight. Comes the 1-2 to Tates. And he pops it out of play. Just to continue on the strangeness trend here in this game, South Carolina's out hitting Georgia, 12-11. Those 5 home runs have been the difference, though. South Carolina yet to leave the park tonight. And the 1-2, change up at 76 miles an hour.
Talked about it already tonight about the changeup, and if it can look exactly like the fastball coming out of the hand, how good of a pitch it can be. And this is a prime example. Veach, the fastball is good, up to 92 already tonight, up to 94 though this year. But the changeup and the confidence in the changeup to throw at any part of the count is what makes him really good.
Two away for Clayton Chadwick. For 3 night tonight. Again, the only Georgia batter without a hit. And he pops up a bunt foul to get to strike 2. We got to put the earpiece back in for Messina. I don't know why I'm just thinking about this, Lance, but, we do a lot of work in studio, and we wear those earpieces, but we only wear them for, maximum an hour, for as long as the show is. I can't imagine wearing an earpiece for a 4-hour-long baseball game because it's not the most comfortable thing to have in your ear, I will say that.
Never thought about that.
These guys, they must have gotten used to it now. And there's the changeup again. Our first 1-2-3 inning of the game comes at the top of the 9th inning. Happy Friday, everybody. To the bottom of the 9th we go. South Carolina with a chance to make it even more interesting. It is 14-10. This has been an offensive juggernaut game. South Carolina's had some chances in this one, but they will start it off with Blake Jackson here, who has been the hero time and time again. Doesn't have a chance to win it, but can certainly start a rally for the Gamecocks here.
I like that, Sam. Happy Friday to you, but
that's
I'm
right.
Still stuck in Thursday.
That's right. You'll catch up.
Always behind.
There it is, man!
Well, Chandler Marsh will try and close it out for Georgia here and pick up a crucial Game 1 victory. And a breaking pitch hit out to left field. And the catch is made. That's Stinson who has come in. Josh Stinson as a defensive replacement. Dylan Carter has also entered. He's out in center field. There's Carter. It's relieving Paul Tates and Clayton Chadwick. Or actually, Chadwick has moved over to right for Charlie Goldstein. So, a couple of defensive shifts. One away for Cole Messina. Messina has Yeah, came into this game on a tear, but 0 for 4 tonight. Reigning SEC Player of the Week. Held hitless. Might have chased ball 3 there. Instead, it's 2-1. Cole Messina has a younger brother, Carson, who is signed to play at South Carolina. So long as he doesn't get drafted out of high school, he's a pitcher. But pretty cool pitcher, catcher, brother duo.
Yeah, it makes it easy to, whether you got to. Usually, pitchers have to find a catcher to catch them, and pitchers always want to find a pitcher to catch some bullpens so they can get ready. So yeah, it makes it a lot easier. Keep it all in the family.
Cole Messina likely will be drafted this summer. So.
What grade you say his brother was in?
I don't know what grade he's in. I do know that he is signed and committed, though. But, those commitments can range now. I mean, you can get guys who are freshmen in high school that have committed. But we'll have to follow up on Carson, see where he's at. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Cole Messina. Swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout of the night for Chandler Marsh. And the Gamecocks are down to their final out here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Parker Nolan gonna try and keep things going here. He's been on base in all of his 5 previous plate appearances. He's been hit by a pitch twice, 2 singles, and a walk in the first. And the 1-1 misses. Low and in. 2 balls and a strike. And this one crushed out to left center field. And it's caught. Carter ends the game for Georgia. And the Bulldogs take game 1 of 3 on the road here at Founders Park in Columbia, South Carolina by a final score of 14-10. Charlie Condon, 8 consecutive games with a home run. His 34th home run earlier in this one. Broke the record set by Jack Caglione last year for most home runs in a single season in the BB Core era. And Condon continues to break records, has a chance to break more tomorrow. We will have that game on the SEC Network at 5:30 Eastern Time. Lance Cormier, your final thoughts as you near Friday. You'll join us in a second.
Absolutely. Love the offense for the Georgia Bulldogs. 10 walks, 3 hit batters, did it all, and then 9 extra base hits. They provided the run support the pitching staff needed.
Once again, your final score, 14-10. We'll see you tomorrow on the SEC Network. For our entire crew in Columbia, South Carolina, Lance Cormier, I'm Sam Ravitch. We'll see you tomorrow. Get some rest, LC.